say lines?
I don't remember any of my lines.
All right. We are
Act
live.
1. We open on the surface of the moon. It's never mind. I'm
And
just
it
pitching my
opens-
movie to these guys.
All right, Izzy, we're live. Let's hear that Penguins quote, buddy.
First of all, I said I wasn't drinking tonight, but I had a bloody and cheers.
Oh,
Cheers.
Got water.
Yeah, I got my water.
yeah, exactly.
That's a good way to start this thing off.
Yeah.
So about the Penguins, fuck Mario Lemieux.
Oh God.
There we go.
Whoa.
Yep.
Hey,
So
he had
it's
cancer.
okay.
Passionate hockey talk here on Brandon's.
Oh, shit, I
What do
got
we
my
call
water.
this Brandon story?
Fields and Friends is what I've been
Fields and
doing
Friends.
it as.
That's right. That's what.
Fields and friends. Nice.
Yeah, because we're all friends and I'm Fields, so it works out pretty well. At least I hope so. So we'll see. All right, I'm preparing to share it real quick, and I will tag you guys in it. That way you can all share it to your faithful people. If I can, well, God damn it, it's just already being a bitch. So
Of course it is. All right, I see the thing. You're live now, so I can share it regardless.
Oh yeah.
All right, share.
Hang on. Is this on MySpace?
yes, I hope.
No, it's on Friendster, Todd.
I sent you guys a LinkedIn. Did you get that?
LinkedIn.
Still on
Really?
that. I'm still on that.
I'm still
LinkedIn?
using I'm still using AOL, so everybody location.
LinkedIn. That's great.
I'm taping this on VHS to play later, so I can.
LinkedIn is the stepchild of social medias.
Yes.
I'm on the sundial.
Sundial. Nice.
Wow. Carrier pigeon.
Hieroglyphics.
That's the best
chat.
way to be. Well, cool. All right.
Absolutely.
Well, appreciate everybody coming and hanging out for this. We'll go around and I'll introduce everybody to the people that are listening. We got Mr. Jimmie Romero from the Hell and Backs. Mr. Todd Kerns. What the hell do you do? No, I'm
Dancer choreographer with the Paula Abdul group.
And now you're a professional cat owner as well. So, yeah.
That's true. Yeah.
Yeah. We got Brando from Appetite for Distortion. And then we
Also
got,
a professional
of course,
cat owner.
fucking Izzy Presley, a last-minute addition. But we're so glad to have you here with us, bud.
I'm glad to be here. Thank you.
The good thing is when you get Izzy, you also get Sebastian Bach. Go.
Dude, we're talking about fucking GNR. Skid Row, open that tour.
Wow.
Dude, there was
Wow.
Jack Daniels and cocaine.
Oh God, I just want this to be the next hour. So
It will be. He's already had a shot.
That's impressive.
Yes,
It is
but
impressive,
it
isn't
was,
it?
but I am gonna say this. It is something not hardcore. It is the Screwball, the peanut butter.
Oh,
the
Whiskey.
yeah.
that
which
sounds like a
is-
horrible hangover.
That
Oh,
sounds
it
like,
is.
like
It
a
is.
bad hangover like Boone's Farm.
Oh, it is.
Oh, dude.
But-
Well, go ahead. Izzy.
And the other problem with this is it's so damn delicious that you just keep drinking it.
Right.
it is good.
It's bad. It's bad. It's bad. I love it.
Speaking of Boone's Farm, so the place my band played for Halloween last week, we've played there like the last couple years, several times a year. So they don't have a liquor license. So the only liquor they sell is like Mad Dog, I'm pretty sure. Boone's Farm is one of the two. So, so we always end up drinking like 6 or 7 of those like a piece while we're there because people just keep bringing them up to the stage. And you got to chug the whole thing because if you're trying to take it in sips, you're not making it through it. So that's always, every time we're playing there, I'm like, just have to prepare myself for that. So, which, well, not
It's
anymore
been a
because I'm
long
not
time.
drinking anymore. So,
Make sure nothing's on the agenda for the next day.
No, exactly.
Yep.
yeah, it's all that sugar, man, will fuck you up real bad. The
Oh,
sugar will
Lord.
fuck you up worse than the alcohol. So,
For real.
My diabetes has a boner.
So what are we doing? Comparing the first 2 ABBA albums?
Yes. Starting with, is it
Again.
Super Trooper or is it, I don't even remember the name.
Well, cool. I got both of them here.
Oh, shit.
Oh,
On
nice.
vinyl. Wow.
Yeah, these are originals from Korea. I got them on eBay in like 2010. when I was
Wow.
living
Nice.
in Florida. So, and they actually sound pretty good. As you know, in the '90s, it was hard to get any of those records on vinyl. So, I think that's
Sure.
why the Korea ones are like the main ones that pop around, because I'd assume there weren't very many American pressings of that, if any, at the time. So,
You know what was handy though, when you talk about vinyl, was that the Use Your Illusion record became, the original cover was immediately banned, as we all know, in America. But everywhere else, like Europe, Australia, you can get that album today. Like if
You mean
you happen to find the
Appetite?
vinyl.
Right.
You mean
yeah,
Yeah,
Appetite?
that first Appetite. Yeah, the first Appetite banned album cover. You can
Right.
find it. I have several like European and Australian versions.
I don't have any copies of the original one. That's
Oh,
all
yeah?
I still gotta get.
I do not.
I'll dig around for you.
Okay, cool. I know that they still put the sleeve inside of the Cross
Inside the
record.
record.
So yeah. And it wasn't the record company that had the issue with it. It was places like the retailers that didn't want to stock it.
Right.
Which
Todd, you have that. Do you have like the original Live Like a Suicide?
I don't. That's one of the ones I've always asked about. Is that? Do you have that?
No. I wish.
It's kind of the holy grail of this kind of game.
I
Right.
saw Michael Brando post one of the originals like a couple weeks ago,
Oh,
and
wow.
I think I commented like the Dr. Evil like.
Well, look,
I know.
I mean, we're talking rare shit. When you guys remember, obviously Live at the Ritz, which I think is the greatest recorded show of all time.
88.
88, yeah. And there was a single from that was Knocking on Heaven's Door. And I guess like it was actually released in Japan on vinyl, a large portion of that show. And
Dig
you
it
can-
out, Brandon. Brandon's found it fancy.
Okay, 1 second, I'll grab it. I actually have two versions. One, so I'm one of those people that I don't keep vinyl sealed except for one record I've got, and I'll show you real quick while I
Nice.
take it off the wall.
While he's doing that, speaking of sealed vinyl, I do have a Paul Stanley. Hold on, let me grab it.
Nice.
It's show
All
and
right,
tell,
so just
everybody.
let's- Free now.
I just unsealed it. I'm not going to go grab it because it's behind me. Chinese democracy. I'm never going to sell it.
Because, dude, it always
got a
comes
fe-
back to Kiss.
That's the
this
back
is a
I have showing.
sealed Paul Stanley solo record.
Dope.
It is
Wow.
cut. It's one of the cut ones. But I take offers on it.
Nice.
You
That's
sleep?
that's actually on my record
Sleep
player
with it?
right now. Is that record?
Still got the poster in it?
I don't
Sealed.
have the poster with that.
It's sealed. Of course, it's got this poster.
Damn it. Damn you,
So I got this one that I just found here in Lexington a few days ago, and
Sick.
the interesting thing about this is most of the copies of this record that I've ever found, they don't include Mama Ken on them. And it's weird because you think it's copyright, but they're all fucking bootlegs. So who
Right,
That's
cares
right.
about the
just to be
copyrights?
clear, that's the 88 Ritz show?
Yes,
On
the one that
vinyl?
was on
Yeah.
MTV.
But that is a bootleg. That's not
It's a
the
bootleg, yeah.
that's not the Japanese release.
Well, this is the one that I've got sealed. This is a Japanese import numbered. This one is number 36 of 1,000, and it's glow in the dark vinyl.
Nice.
Nice.
This is the only record in my collection that's still sealed. I'm pretty sure.
The only one that glows in the dark? Do you have
Yeah,
others?
and this one is well, no, the only one that's sealed.
Okay.
Yeah, definitely the only one I know that glows in the dark.
Okay. All right. It's important information.
This one's a little random, but I did find this here in Lexington as well. It's when they played at CBGB's.
Oh,
Uh,
cool.
the
nice,
acoustic
nice.
set. And of course, it's got 1 in a million on here. The only time they ever played that live.
Oh, wow.
And there's video footage of this whole concert as well. So I mean, that's
Nice.
all
Sure.
over YouTube.
Did you guys know
That's crazy.
that okay? So the box set that came out like what last year? or
Locked and
something like
loaded?
that?
Yeah,
1 in a million was taken off,
Yeah,
that's right.
not on there.
yeah.
Different
Which
times.
Why mess with it?
And look, I think that
Yeah.
the reason I think that sucks is because that song and like Axl always said, that's how I was feeling at that time. But he would say something in the song, but then say something totally different about what he was saying, you know. But to me, that song is like the most honest fucking song I have ever heard. It's like that last verse, you know. I'm a small town white boy just trying to make ends meet. Don't need your religion. Don't watch that much TV. It's like, oh.
And the thing about that song is, man, dude, that is hands down one of Axl's best vocal performances, man. He fucking sings his ass off on that song, regardless of the lyrical content. Insert any other lyrics, and Axl's still fucking singing his ass off on that song.
I don't give a fuck. Yeah.
Are you ready for a segue? You ready for this
Let's do
segue?
it.
After listening to these Use Your Illusions records, I'm pretty blown away by the volume of lyrics. More than almost, obviously I think Axl's a very interesting lyricist, but I'm like listening to like Locomotive or Coma, and it's just like, they read like Dylan, like Bob Dylan will do like, most songs are like a verse, a pre-chorus, a chorus, a verse, a pre-chorus, a chorus, a bridge, the chorus again, out. So you've got like 2 verses, and I know this as a songwriter, you're kind of like agonizing over the second verse. I just killed myself. I got to write the second verse. And then I look at some of these songs and I go, it's like boom, boom, like multiple verses. And I'm like, holy cow, like he did not run out of things to say.
I mean, he wrote Don't Cry twice. So
Right? Yeah, and even
right. He's like, let me give you the second version.
Yeah, and there's people that knock Axl. It's like on the Illusion tour, it's like he already had teleprompters with the lyrics. It's like, dude, if you listen to those fucking songs, it's like there's like 10,000 words in each of them.
And they're not it's not like, ooh, baby, yeah. It's actually really heavy stuff going on.
Who remembers their phone number or their address half the time? I mean, am I supposed to remember Use Your Illusion 1 and 2?
Yeah, exactly, yeah.
It's all right. He wrote them. It's okay.
Todd, have you ever sat down and talked to Slash about the recording of these records? You ever had a conversation with him about it?
I've had several conversations about that, but most recently I had a conversation with Mike Klink about it, which was really fun.
Nice.
But it's like, a lot of there's a whole other chapter of where they went to Chicago to work on this record in a certain point. And it's sort of like,
Adler.
Yeah, and it's a whole confusing, there was a bit of like, they didn't go to Chicago to kind of like, go to the library and smoke pipes and chill. They were like at the height of like just tearing it up. So I think a lot of the time the stories are kind of like, I don't remember exactly how it went, but I don't even know if Axl even made it out to Chicago. It was kind of like one of those things where they went out there to try and do
He was there very briefly from what I remember in Slash's book. I think they had already been out there for a couple weeks by the time he got out there.
Yeah, I mean, it wasn't Chinese democracy by any stretch of the imagination, but it did take a minute to get this record finished. And I know Mike Klink talked about it like it was like a massive undertaking because there's 2 albums on top of it, and they're not short albums.
Well, look, the reason I ask is I don't know if anybody has heard that the Axl when he showed up on Eddie Trunk in like 2005.
Fucking one of my favorite interviews ever.
Who else was he?
It's not even.
So was he there?
Dude, it was fucking Sebastian.
Because dude,
Ian and Jericho.
The fucking David Lee Roth story
hanging in the corner.
Great. Yeah.
But when Axl talked about these records, he said that the reason there was 2 records is because Izzy wanted to do his record, and Slash wanted to do Slash's record, and Axl's they said I'm not going to do his if he doesn't do mine, and I'm not going to do his, and Axl's like, I'll do whatever. I mean, I'll do both of them. Let's just make this fucking happen, and that's why it ended up being 2 records.
That's interesting. I think there's probably, I mean, I would love, the Loch Ness Monster in all of this, or the Sasquatch sighting is the Izzy Stradlin, that we all want to hear those sides of the stories, but it's kind of like, it's like it's such a rare sighting of any sort.
I mean, like, how many songs did Izzy actually play on?
He played on the entirety of both albums on these.
Yeah.
Are you sure?
He didn't leave
years,
until
Dust and Bones. I mean,
because he was at the beginning of the tour. He did the first part,
and he even came back for a little bit when
Gilby broke his arm. I'm pretty sure.
You know what? That was where I decided I'm never getting a motorcycle. When I thought Gilby Clarke finally gets this gig, and then he breaks his arm, and his fill-in guy is the guy he replaced. He must have been sweating it, bro. He must have been sweating it like, oh shit, there goes my gig,
Right. Yeah, I've just always been excited. I heard Axl's side of that, and I was just always curious, like, especially, you being in, playing with Slash. I wonder if he ever you ever talked to him about that.
Well, we don't really. The funny thing about it is, well, actually going through this again, and I'm sure we'll go through this as we go through the songs. If you want to do it song by song, or how you want to do this, song by song, we'll be here till like fucking tomorrow night. But
Yeah, right.
he, you know, we didn't spend a lot of time in the Slash camp on these records. Like we did Civil War in the beginning, and that was pretty much it. And then later on, we sort of like, hey, what about You Could Be Mine? We kind of played that. That'd be fun. And then you know, that happened, and then Double Talk and Jive. I think that's about it, if I remember correctly, from the Use Your Illusion stuff that we even you know, sort of ventured into. He's you know, he doesn't have. I don't think he has as many great feelings about this stuff as he does about Appetite.
Right,
I mean,
right. Well, funny. So a funny story about Knockin'. When I was a DJ in St. Cloud, Minnesota on Rockin' 101, every single time I got Knocking on Heaven's Door, it was always the Illusion version. And I'm just thinking, dude, the live version is so much better.
I agree.
Slash even says that in his book. He's like, I hate the way it came out
from '88. And
With Tracy and Roberta.
Well, the Wembley version is the one that was on Live Era, and that's
I gotcha.
Right. Well, I'm talking the Ritz.
Yeah,
I'm
both
talking
of
the
them
Ritz.
kick ass. Yeah.
So, and I used to have a show called Under the Covers with Izzy Presley. That's how I got into radio, all cover songs, right? And so that was a staple on the show, but it was always the '88 Ritz version, you know.
Of course.
So every time I got fucking Knocking on Heaven's Door in my shift, I would swap it out with the live '88 version, because I mean it was a single, and I think people would rather hear that than this fucking boring studio version in my mind. And the program director locked the song.
Wow. Dude, Guns was so popular that all the cover bands, I mean, before, when you're talking about the Ritz version, all the bands that I knew, the cover bands, would be playing that version of Knocking on Heaven's Door. A Guns N' Roses version of Hair of the Dog by Nazareth, you know. They would Mama Kin, you know, stuff like that. Songs that kind of, I mean, Aerosmith really kind of got a nice boost by Guns covering that song.
Right.
I think,
Yeah, for sure.
Well, hell, senior year in high school, I was in Spanish 3, and we had to do this project. So I got one of the other cats in my class that played guitar, and then one of the other cats in my class was a sound guy for like jazz band or whatever. Sure. So we went over to my because I was in a shitty band at the time, and I was a horrible guitar player. Still,
baby, don't talk like that.
But so we were, and one of the other guys in the class was a singer.
So bad, Jimmie Romero just walked out on you.
Exactly. So we did Knockin' on Heaven's Door in Spanish. And I still have the cassette of that night. And this is when I learned at the age of 18, you never give a drummer a microphone. Because I'm sorry, I'm not trying to offend anybody. This is just what he was saying. It's like during that breakdown part, you know, he'd be yelling like, "Sand nigger, spick!" And like, dude, Mike, what are you shut up, dude? This is for fucking Spanish class at a Catholic high school. What are you fucking doing?
Good Lord.
Oh my God. So yeah, never give a drummer a microphone.
Well, unless he's Gil Moore or Don Henley or
Peter Criss.
Or that guy from Night Ranger.
Yeah,
that's that guy from Night Ranger. I think that's his official name.
Kelly Keagy.
Yes.
Kelly Keagy. Wow. I just broke a brain vessel just thinking like,
I wouldn't.
That's in there. That's in there somewhere. I can't remember people's birthdays, but Kelly Keagy is the drummer for Night Ranger. That's in there. How do you want to do this, Brand? You want to go song by song, or you want to kind of?
I think since we're debating it, the best way that we can do this, we're just going to not count My World because that's just weird. But I think there's 14 songs on both albums, so I think if we're debating it, we need to put track by track against each other.
There's 13 and 14, I believe.
13 and 14.
But
I might have counted wrong. But if you take off,
it's
still 13.
If you take
the times, if you add up the times, they're within seconds of each other. So
okay, I didn't know that, so that's cool.
Do the math.
All right.
Interesting.
So
I did once.
Actually, I am realizing for the first time that my record is a misprint for Use Your Illusion 1.
Really?
This is
Was
awesome as fuck. I literally
Is
just
Freebird
realized
on
that.
it?
No, it doesn't. It doesn't have Right Next Door to Hell as the first song. It just goes straight Dust and Bones.
Interesting.
So
I
I just realized that I now have a misprint. So
that's
anybody
not
wants to buy this, it'll be on eBay in 30 minutes. So,
There you go.
yeah.
There you
all
go.
right, cool. Well,
Do you think that maybe that means that song's not on the Korean version?
no, I definitely was listening to this actual
okay, there you
vinyl
go.
last night. So
It's just a misprint on the thing. Yeah.
yeah, they
See,
just
this was an
totally didn't print
interesting
it.
factoid. I'm curious if you know this, Todd. I had Doug Goldstein on recently. We were doing
right.
a Live Era episode, and one of the questions I got from listeners was, why do the Korean version, or I forget what version had Coma on it, but everywhere else did not have Coma.
Oh, really?
Oh
I thought
yeah,
there was going to be some big reason, I guess, but
there was another one as well. I think
the Japan release was the only
I
one.
had Pretty Tied Up as well. I think was on one and wasn't on the other. I might be wrong on that. I know you're right about Coma, but for some reason I want to say there was a second track as well that was only on certain releases.
In this instance, it was only because if you imported to Japan, it was cheaper, I guess. So they wanted to make sure that the Japanese people, again, I forget what country it is specifically, would buy that version and would get, because they would get an extra song in it, because all the other versions around the world would only have, I guess, 13 songs or whatever.
That is a very big thing in Japan to have something exclusive to Japan. So I'm not really quite sure.
That's also part of it too.
Yeah.
But it was so they wouldn't take in imports. It's like
that's why we all
all
own Japanese versions of something. We dig around and that's got this thing on it or whatever.
Yeah, I've got the Japanese Lick It Up back here. So
what's on that?
Well, it was. It had the Obi insert that covered the front cover, and it had pictures of the band still in makeup.
Right. Yeah, I remember that. That's interesting. Yeah.
Yeah. Elder had a different cover as well. That's like on my next list of shit to acquire from Japan. But
so
all right, let's go ahead.
Next Door to Hell, and then the second album, which actually kind of surprised me. I was 100% sure that the second album opened with the Terminator song. You could be mine.
Yeah, you could be mine.
And then I opened it, and it was Civil War, and I was like, I don't remember this. I was like, wow.
Yeah.
Maybe I had a Canadian version.
and Civil War is the final track that the original lineup played on.
Yes, that's Steven Adler on drums.
They said that his drums are heavily edited, but heavily edited, that I don't know what that means in early 90s terms, because
right. Well, I just love that Sorum always said that I can't play those songs like him.
Yeah, there's a swing to those songs. One time Steven came into the rehearsal space, like back in the early days, and Fitz just hands him the drumsticks, and he goes, Mr. Brownstone. And it was like, he just it was as if he just like pushed a button, and it was the song. Like, it was like, no matter how close you think you can get it, Steven Adler is, when he plays those songs, like when you watch his band, Adler's Appetite, the drums are exactly like the Appetite.
Yep. It's like Tommy Thayer playing Ace Frehley solos.
Yeah, he plays them great. Yeah.
But it's not Ace.
No, exactly. Yeah, there's something.
Dude, and while we're on the subject of Adler's band, dude, that new singer he's got is just fucking phenomenal, man.
Who does he have now?
It's some guy from South America that I guess he linked up with whenever GNR flew him down there all the way to play one song each night. And
he's from a Guns N' Roses tribute down there.
Son of a Gun, I think, is what it was called, or something like that.
Because they did
first time Adler had ever played that like live, and it got thrown all over the place, and now it's in Adler's set because that guy's singing for him. But that guy's voice is no joke, man.
Yeah, he's really.
A couple years ago, he did a Friends and Family show at the Whiskey, and it was when that Constantine guy from Rock of Ages was the singer.
Constantine Maroulis.
Yep, and my buddy Carlos Stivel was playing guitar. Was the rhythm guitar player for it, so I was able to go to see that. I mean, it was good, but it was like dude, it's just, just watching, like I said, hearing Steven play those songs, like, this is how they're supposed to be fucking played.
Yeah. And I think you can definitely hear that track, even though, I mean, it fits well into the rest of the album, that track just has a different feel from every other song on both of these albums. At least to me, that's because just knowing the Daddlers on it, you pick up on some of those indiscrepancies that are him. So,
Right.
I mean, we played that, as I was mentioning, we played that song in the 2010 pre-Conspirators. We were just backing up Slash. So it was on his list of songs he wanted to play, and it meant having that double neck guild that's a half acoustic and half electric. So it was pretty important to Slash to play Civil War.
That was the first time he got to really do some of those GNR songs in a long time, was when you guys first kind of popped up, and that was really cool for me, because I was about 14 whenever that first solo record came out, and getting to see Slash, like, there was. I don't know if you were with them at this gig or not, the Australian MTV.
Yeah.
Okay. And like, that was my first time, like, getting to see Slash play like Night Train and shit like that. I
brought back from that trip a little, you know how you get those little, like, spreadable, like peanut butters or something like that in the cafe. I brought back a Heinz Vegemite. From Australia. It was sitting on top of my stove. Yeah, exactly. There you go. Yeah.
Don't recommend it.
No, I could not figure it out, but it was like.
And I'm sorry, Todd. I'm sorry if I keep blistering you with questions about this kind of stuff, but so you've been.
I kind of feel like I'm like from Star Trek: The Next Generation, and we're talking about Star Trek.
Right. No, hey, but
when William Shatner, I'm like, I don't know. I was with Patrick Stewart.
No. I mean, this is about with your time with Slash. I mean, there was so long where they always said it would never happen. It would never happen. It would never happen. When did you see him kind of start to go, maybe?
I honestly, like, I don't believe any of that anyway. So, I mean, when I say, like, a band will never get back together,
right.
I
agree.
I can't think of anybody right now.
Skid Row.
Maybe Skid Row.
Yeah. Skid Row's never going to happen.
But I just think, with the Eagles, or even Gene and Paul getting back together with Peter and Ace, even though it was relatively brief. All those, Roth and Van Halen, like, that was like, we all were there. For years, it was like, that's never going to happen, dude. And then when it happens, you're like, oh, yeah, it's so normal that, honestly, I think that, I never really kind of, I mean, I still got the impression, I still get the impression, because Slash is the kind of guy, when he's doing something, he's doing it because he 100% wants to do it.
Right.
So when he was doing Conspirators and that kind of thing, it's because it's what he wants to do. And I think that, so when the Guns thing comes up, he's not going to phone that in either. So he's 100% in.
Right.
But Right Next Door to Hell. What an album opener.
Yeah.
Todd's the producer. He's trying to stay on track.
I think I'm a politician. I think that's what that is. Evading questions.
Yeah. No, that's cool. I was just
Right Next Door to Hell. I'm pretty sure at the Indiana concert that's what they opened up with.
I don't think I've ever heard that song live. They actually.
That was the opener at the Indiana concert, I'm pretty sure. But yeah, I didn't totally kill her.
That's written about a neighbor that Axl got into a thing with, and that I'm sure remember the myth of that.
Oh yeah, that's right. I remember that story.
There was not only that, it was like in a legal. It became like a whole legal thing. Like, apparently the neighbor claimed that Axl had attacked him with a bottle and something like that, or I don't know.
I don't think
that sounds familiar to me.
Story.
Yeah, it's familiar to me. I remember.
Something like
that.
It's one of those. The myth is. I mean, back then it seemed like there was always something going on with those guys. There was always some story for those guys. Yeah.
What about it being the opening song, much like Welcome to the Jungle? This was their first official release, I guess.
Yeah.
If you don't, a Spaghetti Incident, it's a whole other podcast.
Yeah.
But this is the first time it's like, oh, the guys are putting out an effort, a song, an album, and Right Next Door to Hell is the first time you hear anything official from Appetite.
What did everyone think of that?
Well, did you remember that Civil War?
A lot of hype to live up to.
Yeah, Civil War had come out on a previous charity album of some sort, if I recall correctly.
Was that on the
They played
Emerald?
it at Farm Aid.
Yeah.
With Adler.
Was that on that fucking like 3 CD record label gimmick that like the Pussycats
It might have been, yeah.
version of You're So Vain was on?
I don't know. It might be Google worthy. If only I had a machine that could answer these kind of questions. But I do remember hearing Civil War, and at the time, of course, it was still Steven Adler. Yeah. So I think it was even before they had announced that Matt was coming in and all that kind of stuff. So there was Dizzy had been added to the lineup. So there was a keyboard player now, and we're like, oh, okay. You know, it was just like your head was constantly reeling with all the Guns N' Roses information coming at you. I remember the first time I owned those was on compact disc. It was called a CD back then. Does anybody remember this?
Yeah, mine were on cassette.
Ah, yeah. I definitely had it on a cassette as well because we would travel. Yeah, the burnable CD. Boy, that's becoming a thing of the past.
Yeah, right.
But yeah, Right Next Door to Hell, like you say, Brando, it's like, yeah, that was, if you're getting the albums for the first time, this is song 1 from album 1, Use Your Illusion 1, so this would be the first one you listen to. And yeah, it's a pretty big, here we go, yeah.
Duff's bass just coming in hot, man.
100%. Yeah.
It's got the classic Duff tone on it, that the chorus, and it's just
he's got a Phase great. 90, like just fresh out of the box or something. I'm not sure what that is, or a chorus. I'm not sure what it is. Yeah.
So this song in Civil War, which one you taking? Let's go around. Todd, which one you taking out of these two?
I have to give it to Civil War. I just think there's there's just something in the classic legacy of the band. That's one of the songs that you would probably go, yeah, Civil War has got a hell of an impact. Right Next Door to Hell is a badass song, but I think Civil War is, by this point they became so good at the epic tunes, and Civil War isn't as epic as, say, Estranged or something like that, but
right.
I would definitely put it in the category for sure.
It's up there with it though, man. I'll tell you what, the first couple shows with my GNR tribute, this was always the one that I got a little nervous before we played it each time, because it was like, all right, there's a lot, because the song basically starts over halfway through it. And
it does,
there's just so many moving parts to it. It's like, I hope all 5 of us are on the same page for the next 7.5 minutes.
Oh, yeah, I know. It's easy to get lost in those songs for sure. Yeah.
Jimmie, what about you, buddy?
I have to go with Civil War on those two, between those two, definitely.
Yeah.
Brando?
Same thing for a lot of the reasons Todd mentioned, and just how poignant it is today. I mean, the lyrics are just...
Yeah, good point.
And my hands are tied. Come on, that's like you still remember that.
Yeah,
I know.
That moment,
yeah.
You sing that live. I mean, Right Next Door to Hell is great, but Civil War.
I see you nodding your head, so I assume you're going Civil War.
Yeah, dude, too. It's that. I'm sorry, that is one of those. It's an iconic Guns N' Roses song.
It is.
And when you add in the whole monster of it being the final song that those original 5 guys made together.
And then you got the clip from Cool Hand Luke at the beginning.
Yeah, totally. Yeah. What was that actor's name?
Ah, God.
He's great. I know. But the lyrics in that song are really heavy and
the funny thing about
smart.
The Cool Hand Luke thing is with me. So I'm way younger than all of you guys. So
whoa.
My first experience
I'm 7, sir.
I heard this song before I knew what the fuck Cool Hand Luke was. And I remember being in the living room one day and my parents had the TV on, whatever. And
that scene comes on?
It was showing a preview to Cool Hand Luke because it was about to play it. And it plays that fucking clip. And I was probably like 11 or 12. And I was like, hey, that's Civil War. And
so this was 3-4 years ago.
Yeah,
it was. Actually, it was like a month ago. So,
well, here's the funny thing, because I had not seen Cool Hand Luke before I heard the song, and I thought that was a chick.
No, that's the guy. I forget his name, but he's in hey, you know what movie he's in? He's in Slapshot with Paul Newman.
He's in Slapshot?
Yeah, dude. Get
the fuck out of here.
He's the owner of the team.
Oh my God! Oh, hold on. Speaking of Canadian good shit, this just showed up from eBay the other day.
Nice.
Classic.
Nice.
Elsinore beer.
That's right.
So we got a wide consensus that I think
And
we'll take
a fun fact: the Cool Hand Luke clip was recorded off Howard Tieman's VCR. He owns T-Man Tattoo Studios.
Really?
He was one of the random people that I've had on the show, and he was
Wow.
friends with him back in the time. And he does the beginning of I used to love her, the whatever that noise he does. He does that random noise, so he
Oh,
does
wow.
like random noises.
Okay.
Do you have like a Guns N' Roses podcast?
Yeah.
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 Get the fuck out of here!
I can't tell if he's
I didn't. Oh, I didn't.
sarcasm.
I'm serious. I didn't know. I didn't know.
Yeah,
Oh,
no.
okay.
He hosts
Brando's
a
the man.
very awesome show called Appetite for Distortion, and he has
Nice.
a bunch of cool guys on there all the time. Doug
Nice.
Goldstein goes on there, and you've had Frank on there before, correct?
Yes, Frank Todd has been on a couple
I've
times.
done, yeah. To be fair, it's a Guns N' Roses / 98 Degrees podcast. It's really
I don't know. 98 degrees.
Nick
50
Lachey
degrees
comes
of
up.
GNR bacon. That's all.
Look. If we were maybe if snow was part of this,
Yeah.
that'd be a different story. But yeah, if you ever do the Ritz show again, let me know. I'd love to be part of that.
Yeah,
Okay.
There you go.
Well,
I don't think we've done a show, an episode dedicated to that. So
That'd be a fun show.
Yeah.
But we've done. I just can't help it as we're talking about illusion. Just all these people. Just like it's the theme of GNR. I'm like, I can't interview Axel and Slash.
Right.
You know, sorry, Todd. We don't text. We don't text talking about horror movies. We're not friends.
Yeah.
it's
So
no
I'll just-
Ratchet, not
if
horror
you can't get
movies, no.
Shatner, get one of the guys
Right.
from Star Trek Voyager or one of the other,
Hey, it is what it is, man. You know, I'm a low-level radio guy, so yeah. But I
Exactly.
mean, it's cool because everyone has a story. So it's
That's true.
Right.
Absolutely.
just going to Wikipedia and sometimes just looking to see who else is credited on these albums, who isn't,
I
named
know.
Izzy or Axel or Slash or any of these.
Totally.
So I'm like, who the hell is Howard Tiemann? And just to find out he's a cool tattoo artist. They recorded. That's the Cool Hand Luke. That is exactly. That's what he said. Unless he's he's a liar.
That's so that
Why
he
would-
actually
you know what I mean?
he put in the VHS tape and they recorded the
And that's
clip?
what you hear on the album.
Wow.
So funny. Wow.
Have you had
Crazy.
Rackman on?
Yes.
Nice.
I will say, Ricky, I'm glad how I got him on because was a little bit of a challenge, but I donated to, it gives me a chance to, I want to donate to stop a soldier's suicide. That's how I got
Oh
him
wow.
actually,
Okay.
That's a
Ricky
good
Ricky
one.
on.
Yeah, Ricky's
like,
a great dude.
Yeah, so that was fun. We could have chatted for a long ass time. How long do you
bet.
guys go back? It seems like you've done your Sebastian impression for him. I can't get over how good that is, honestly. Like, if you,
Dude, you know how I learned it? A couple years ago, I drove back to Minnesota from Burbank, and I was listening to the Sebastian book on tape on
Oh wow.
CD, and he actually is doing the voiceover on it. So I had to listen to this for 13 hours. And it was all literally, dude, there was Jack Daniels and cocaine, and that's the whole book.
Oh,
Sorry, once I
That's
start, I
fucking
can't
great.
stop.
I
great.
gotta buy the
Great
audiobook
version.
now just to see how that is. That's gotta be.
I had
Great.
no idea that existed. Although I will say that the Paul Stanley audiobook is amazing.
I have listened to a lot. I think that's probably the one I've listened to the most because a lot of it's on YouTube. Sorry, Paul.
and I don't know if the sound bite's gonna work, but
Rock and roll is a savage animal.
Wait, that was Izzy, right?
that was Izzy. Yes.
Yeah, yeah. Nailed it.
Sebastian played at God, it was Moon Dance Jam up in Minnesota a few years ago, and I was there, and my buddy fucking brought a shirt that said Savage Animal on it. And he was up by the front of the stage, and Sebastian's like, dude, give me that shirt. They were like, dude, Savage Animal.
That's great.
Oh,
Mark's
I-
gonna text one of us here in a minute and tell us we owe him money for that soundbite playing or something. So
if you haven't yet, you need to do a bit of reading Sebastian's tweets in there.
Yeah, there you go.
Oh,
There
God.
you go.
That could be fun.
No, I'm good.
Okay. You're ready for material, I guess.
Honestly, and if I like disappear for a few minutes, I have pork on the grill that's supposed to be smoking. So I'm just going to check on it. So I'm going to go check on it, and I'll be right back.
Yeah, by all means, go ahead.
Well,
you know what's really interesting now that I'm looking at this, so the three of us can talk about it?
That he has shorts on while wearing a hockey jersey.
I think I know where you're going with this.
And he has a wrestling belt behind him. Jeez.
Oh, of course he does. Yeah, this is a grown man living in arrested state of development. God knows. No, the fact that the second song on both of these records are clearly Izzy Stradlin songs.
Yep.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Dustin Bones. Cool. Is it Dustin? No, I'm sorry.
Dustin Bones on one, and then 14 years on two.
Yeah, you're correct, Todd.
Yeah, Dustin Bones is the shit, dude.
Yeah, dude, fucking killer song. And that's that was like the first exposure of Slash like getting into a microphone for the most part, because he sings the bridge part. And I think the only other time that he'd ever stepped up to a mic was at the Ritz before Night Train, when he's like, and I always found this funny when he goes up right before they start and he's like, this song isn't about drinking or drugs. It's just about a walk in a park. And it's like, you guys literally named this after an alcoholic drink called Night Train.
Yeah, I know. Yeah.
You know, that's an interesting thing, Todd. I don't think I've ever asked you, because Slash in your band, I guess like he has more opportunity to do that. And he's a talkative guy.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
You know, he has a lot to say about a lot of things. And, you know, GNR, I guess he would sometimes, you know, be funny with things on the mic, but maybe does he feel like more like a Johnny Carson of the band?
He does.
I guess,
the MC.
The MC.
He's like the hype man. Like he's the Flava Flav to Axl's Chuck D. Probably not quite. I think he's sort of. I mean, the thing when you know Slash is he's not he's not the kind of guy that rambles. Like I will ramble. Me and Frank, our guitar player, will just, you know. Fitz was telling a story once. I don't know if I've told you guys this, but he was telling a story of how like we're in the van riding to the airport, like, you know, the whole band, and he goes Slash is, nobody talks. Miles doesn't speak. He's a monk on the road because he's watching his voice. Slash is usually chill. Fitz is Spock. He's always been Spock. And he goes, I'm not sure what Frank and Todd were talking about, but it wasn't quiet. That was his direct quote. So it's just like two idiots just like rambling on, and then around this kind of quiet little bubble.
Was it about pet foxes?
Yeah, exactly. There's a lot of that. Exotic pets. That's Frank Sidore's.
And that's, man, as far as Miles taking care of his voice like that, it's like you hear the stories of like the guy that literally like doesn't talk when he's not on stage on the road. So
he's chilled out a lot, actually. When I first started working with him, he was way more like religious about it. He sort of kind of found a place to be, you know, this really singer guy, but also kind of have a life, because I think when you realize he's got 3 projects on the go, it's like you can either live your life and be a singer in a band, or you can be like a singer in a band and like just be in like a fucking some sort of like they just kind of wheel him into like a time machine thing and hold him there and then let him out to sing shows and then put him back in a capsule. But
it's like the hot solo version in Carbonite.
Exactly. Now that you guys are back, we can discuss the Izzy Stradlin second song, which I think is probably on purpose. I mean, clearly Axl has such a deep respect, and all the guys, honestly, all the guys that I've talked to have the deepest respect and love, as if, like, if they were Happy Days, Izzy Stradlin is the Fonz. You know what I mean?
Oh,
like,
yeah. Why do you think I stole his fucking first name?
Well, that's, I mean, even Tracy Guns says that, like back in the day, whatever Izzy did, that was what was going to be the coolest thing.
Jimmie and I have talked a lot about this, because part of what is the real awesome interplay of Guns N' Roses anyway is Slash's really fucking, you know, meaty macho guitar playing. And then you've got Izzy kind of like doing this kind of Keith Richards sort of, it's a little Johnny Thunder. It's always the Johnny Thunder. It's a little Andy McCoy from Hanoi Rocks is in there. And it just sort of, and their guitar playing really kind of creates this real interesting interplay that I think is way more interesting than 2 guys playing the same parts for 4 minutes. You know,
dude, and on some of those tunes, Izzy has the more fun guitar parts on it. Like you go listen to Rocket Queen; those verses are all that's all Izzy on that.
Absolutely, absolutely.
fucking great, man. So
we're really religious about that too. So Frank is really good at coming up with it. I think this is it, right? And you're like, I think so. Yeah, it's pretty weird. Like it's not something just a common metal guitar player plays at all.
I can't remember who exactly said it, but the person who said the quote's escaping me. But it's if Izzy Stradlin was in any other band, he'd have been the lead guitarist. So
I could see that.
He's a great guitarist, man, and that's more of a testament to how much those songs were just so fucking
and
good,
clearly
man.
a very talented songwriter.
Yeah, dude,
that's yeah.
I will say this, I know that Duff's wife has let it slip that she's heard part of a new Guns N' Roses album. Man, I really fucking hope Izzy has at least one or two songwriting credits on that. But, I mean, if I had to put my money on it, I'd assume he's not involved.
I don't know where that would come from.
Yeah.
Unless they had stuff laying around that they never used.
Right.
Yeah, but I mean, at the same time, dude, Izzy is so secretive, and that whole camp is that they could have, as far as we know, for the last year, they could have been best friends and working on a new album because.
Well, you remember, like even during
wishing,
and you remember during the DJ and Tommy years, Izzy would just show up in like random places. There'd be like I'd be watching like footage on YouTube, going, "How many people are on stage? Who's that guy?" And then they close up. Izzy's here. He just like would appear.
What was like 2006? Izzy rejoined the band for like a month and a half and did their whole like European tour with them, and he's came out with the band and that through that whole Democracy era from like 06 up until it split up right before the reunion. Izzy would still come out, like when they did the Vegas residency in 2014, came out and did 14 years and one or two other songs with them.
That's how cool Izzy is. It's kind of like, show up, play some, I'm going to go home.
Yeah, and it's come out since the last couple of years that Izzy was at a sound check on the Not in This Lifetime tour. It's that I don't think the actual show has come out, but he was at a sound check and then apparently just like disappeared before the show. So that's
you're quoting my show on a couple things. I love it.
Oh, nice.
There you go.
It's the Susan McKagan thing, and Alan Niven, who often has said that I want to make sure I get it right because he's very careful with it. Izzy is the heart of the soul, of Guns N' Roses, and he was the one that kind of said that Izzy was. I guess at a sound check, and maybe the details get murky from there. Whether he showed up and perhaps maybe smelled weed on Steven Adler and maybe something like that. That's a rumor that's out there. Or, Izzy tweeted and it's been taken down, but still the internet lives forever. That the loot wasn't equal. So
they didn't want to split the loot equally.
The fact that they tried to make it work.
He made a Twitter specifically just to tweet that. He didn't have a Twitter until the day he appeared to tweet that. Which
he would still share like songs he did. I mean, he has social media presence, air quote, I guess.
Yeah,
but,
Well, he talked about that in that Rolling Stone interview that he did. He's just like the money wasn't right.
It's such a fucked up thing. The whole business aspect of all of this.
Right.
That's why what are you gonna do? So what was the decision? Who wants to pick song 2? Is Dustin Bones or what was the other song? 14 years. I'm sorry. I'm gonna go Dustin Bones myself. I love that song. I love when Izzy sings personally. Anytime he sings, and it's so interesting to me that it's kind of like they have one song and then they to establish this is a Guns N' Roses record, and then boom, that's Izzy Stradlin's voice. And you're like, oh wow, okay. That's how confident Axl is that. He's very present in that song, but you definitely get this something other flavor is coming in here. And I just think that song it's so evocative. There's some sort of like cowboy imagery or desert imagery. I'm not sure what it is to me. It's like really.
It's a fucking rough tune. It's
got that swanky. It's got that swanky blue saloon feel to it.
100%. It's kind of sexy. And then that Dizzy Reed's kind of like tap piano thing going on there is really cool. Hi, Presley.
Yeah, she couldn't stay downstairs any longer. Say hi to Uncle Todd.
I thought you were saying hi to Izzy.
I thought it was one of the twins from that horror movie in the 70s.
Oh, the Shining.
What's going on?
Shining.
The Shining, yeah. Got Glenn dancing with one of the twins from The Shining over there.
As much as I really like 14 Years,
I do
and
too.
we do that in my GNR tribute, and
It's a great song.
it's a fun one to do. But man, Dust and Bones is just fucking rough rock and roll song, man, and I'll have to go with that. For the
I'm with you on Dust and Bones as well.
Yep,
Same here.
Same
Wow, how do you like
Look
that?
at that. That's very weird.
That's
we
two
could
for
be
two for two.
Yeah,
to be
we've-
honest, when
we've
I
always
went
agreed
into
that.
listening to this, I actually have always said the second album was my favorite. And after going through this, I think it's going to be very telling of what we actually think. So
Yeah.
song three is really interesting because I was saying this to my wife as I was listening to it. I go, wow, Axl, Izzy, Paul McCartney. I go, it's so weird that they went like for a cover song 3. I was like, holy cow, okay. But I mean, their version of Live and Let Die, I mean,
Yeah,
it's pretty brilliant, really. I mean, it's
It is.
not radically different than the original version. I've played both versions many times in my life, and they're, it's just a different, like a heavier take on the song. But it's pretty killer version overall. I mean, like Axl really kills it and owns it.
I thought it did it a lot of good, a lot of respect,
100%.
And that's Live and Let Die now is, as far as Axl's performance at the gigs, though, that's one of those that you're waiting to see for that bridge part, because that fucking scream he does is just still to this day just fucking gnarly, man. That is great.
Totally.
So is that what we're doing, comparing to like Live and Let Die to Yesterday?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's kind of a non-versation, I suppose, because it's a cover. But I will say that, I don't know, Live and Let Die is...
That's basic. To me, that's a GNR tune. Like not
Brando,
taking it away from Paul's, but it's... You don't think about it as a cover necessarily.
Right.
It's not in that same fucking mindset. It's not like Knocking on Heaven's Door where there's 30 different fucking bands that have done that. It's a lot of people, to a casual fan that might not know much about Paul's solo work, I would assume there's a lot of people that think that that's just a Guns N' Roses song.
Maybe.
Let's not forget about the greatest version of this, which is Weird Al.
Yes, chicken pot pie. Yeah.
Here's the line. But if there's one thing in this world that I like better than corned beef done rye, it's chicken pot pie.
And Paul wouldn't let him release it, I'm pretty sure.
That's why he only does it live.
Yeah, because Paul's
Amazing.
vegetarian, so he wasn't behind.
How could you? Well, I mean, Weird Al doing one of your songs is like the greatest compliment of all time.
Absolutely.
What do you think, Brando?
I think that, because I heard that story too, and it's just obviously it's super funny that I guess Paul's so much of a vegetarian.
Well,
he doesn't even want songs out there
about
Weird Al.
But and there's obviously there are more offensive. Again, I'm using the air quotes. Weird Al that he's done. He's talking about Smells Like Nirvana, that I can't understand anything that you're saying. Kurt's like, okay, sure, you can
or Amish Paradise. That was a good one.
Well, I can't wait. I can't wait to hear everyone's take on the next songs.
So Live and Let Die and
Yesterday's.
Man, that's
tough.
That's a fucking tough one for me, because I love Slash's solo in Yesterday's, man. It's just it's got those classic.
I think you have to
bands.
give it. You kind of have to give it to Yesterday's because it's kind of it's an original song. I mean, but I will say you have to give some love to the McCartney song, because, like you said, it is still a very major part of the show.
Yeah, absolutely.
It's every gig. They've done it every gig on the reunion tour.
Yeah.
It's a radio staple.
You guys agree with, I'm going to say the opposite. There you go.
Really? Controversial. Here we go. That's 2 hours talking about this.
So a couple weeks ago, we did 5150 versus Eat 'em and Smile. And one of my rips on Eat 'em and Smile, and one of the reasons that I picked 5150 is because Eat 'em and Smile has 4 cover songs.
I remember you saying this, yeah.
And great cover songs. They're fucking amazing. They're totally Dave. And that's one of
Shot
the reasons.
Boy is a Roth song now, as far as I'm concerned.
No, dude. It's a Taylor song. It's
yeah,
a
but man,
Taylor song.
when you think of fucking Shot Boy, you think of Sheehan and Bob fucking tearing that
Right,
up.
right. But I mean, you think of Tobacco Road? Do you think of fucking Jefferson Airplane?
I do because I'm
Think
only
of Jefferson
24.
Airplane, or
No,
do you think of David
well,
Lee Roth?
I think of Roth because I'm 24 and not
Right.
He keeps telling us that. I don't like. I don't like.
I mean, I'm gonna just disconnect if he keeps jumping the page.
Right. Back in my day, we wore onions on our belts, and we liked it.
It's like he's sitting there going, "Tell me more about it, Grandpa."
I fall into comas all the.
What was Todd was texting me about
What was
something
this?
like 2 days ago. Oh, you were trying to bounce me one of the songs.
I was.
And,
Yeah. I was talking about my watch. Yeah,
that
you were
too,
like,
yeah, because I shit on you on both instances. But you're trying to bounce the song, and you were like, "It's being a pain in the ass," and I was like, "Don't worry, Papaw, you'll figure it out eventually." And then when you brought up your watch yesterday before we did Mitch's show,
because I was gonna call, like I hadn't set my watch back, and he goes, "Watch? What the hell is that?"
I was like, I think I saw one of those in the Smithsonian. Yeah.
You did.
And then
Wait. You
I
guys. You
sent
guys did.
you the Aztec calendar after that. I was like, you have one of these to match with that thing?
You guys did Lafone show. Nice. So anyways, then back to my point.
Izzy's trying to get us some good headlines out of this one.
I have
Clickbait.
feelings.
Clickbait,
I have
baby.
clickbait. I have feelings, and I'm not going to get into them because it's not fucking worth it. But
The only feelings we want today are between Use Your Illusions
exactly,
1
and
Use Your
this is
Illusions
where
2.
I'm going with this point. So one of the reasons that I picked 5150 is because
You excluded. We had this conversation talking about what other album were we talking about on that show one time? I think it was.
what was it, Dynasty versus
Dynasty
Unmasked?
versus.
Yeah.
So, and we excluded all covers on
No.
sheer
I
principle.
think we just excluded the last two songs on Unmasked because that evened it up.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, but I think we kind of had to, when we were going song to song, head to head. We
Right.
were kind of like, well, that's a cover song, so it was immediately out. But
Yeah,
Yeah,
no,
so-
but now when it comes to 2000, man.
So we're saying
So
yesterday
anyway-
is the winner.
So anyway, yeah, I have. Because I would be a complete douche if I did not go with yesterday, because it would be totally talking out of both sides of my mouth if I said Live and Let Die.
Yesterday, though, I agree with the whole cover thing. I agree with it's a cover tune. It is a cover tune.
Yeah, but like I said, I think it's.
But it's
you think
amazing.
of that as
So
a
good.
GR
It's
song
so good.
in their set.
It
So
really is.
good.
You don't think of that as a cover like you do Knocking on Heaven's Door. I'm still going yesterday's, but that's my take on the whole that being a cover.
I wouldn't disagree with you. So I'm going to take the bull by the horns because the next song, "Don't Cry," is tough.
Oh yeah.
And then
Versus, well, you know what? Versus "Knocking on Heaven's Door," I'm going to give it to "Don't Cry." I'm going to start real bold with this. Once again, let's talk about Shannon Hoon sings on "Don't Cry." That's pretty
Yep.
dope.
And it was the first song they ever wrote together in GNR.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There's actually
a
versions
video
of it.
There's a video from like '85, them doing it at like one of their first shows, a little acoustic video.
Yeah. And that is the first video sans Mr. Stradlin with the "Where's Izzy" sign on the back of Sanchez's jacket. Yeah. Yeah, it was pretty weird because you're like, you don't notice it at first because there's an extra guy. Shannon's up there singing. You're like, okay. And you're like, oh, whoa, Izzy's not there. So
And
it's
they
like,
ended up taking footage from that and releasing a video for Bad Apples, which was like all this like weird angle footage from Don't Cry, which that
is
was
what it
just,
was?
yeah, it's mostly from that video. But yeah, I'm definitely going Don't Cry on those two. If we're talking about the album version of Knocking on Heaven's Door, I'm definitely going Don't Cry.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
I'm with Izzy on the fact that I think that live version was so dope that it's like when they made the recorded version, I was like, it's cool, but it's missing so much of what
The
was so
drums are
great.
just so fucking like
Right.
laid back on
Well,
it.
look,
It's like
this is the great thing about that fucking 88 show is they were fucked up. They were out of tune,
Yeah.
but it was so raw, but so tight and loose at the same time that's why it fucking rules.
I know. When you talk to the guys, they all kind of have this like, it was a crazy night. And you're like, dude, that was like, you don't know how many of us watched that show on MTV and went and picked up guitars the next day or or a lot of guys were already still wearing, white pants and bleached out hair this high, and then they saw like that Ritz show and went like, oh, it's on now.
Hands down, my favorite concert of all time. Like,
yeah. Do you guys know who opened up that show?
Great White.
Oh.
Yes, Great White.
Oh, another
Great White.
Alan Niven act.
Yeah. But
they did the Zeppelin covers, and dude, fucking Jack Russell does.
I love Great White.
I
had the pleasure to perform with Jack Russell right before COVID.
Oh,
nice.
Wow. It's funny is if you know anything about like Face the Day, and there's another song as well. It was originally done by like Angel City from Australia.
Yeah.
Or they're also known as the
Face the Day
Angels.
was. Yeah.
I think there was another song that they did as well, but I can't remember. Great band. I saw them open for Judas Priest on the Defenders of the Faith tour, and it was the very first Great White album, and they had an album called Stick It, and their t-shirt was this giant middle finger, and everybody had to buy that shirt. Like, you're there to see Judas Priest, and you're like, that shirt's pretty dope.
Right, so that was in that era where Great White was kind of doing the Judas Priest thing before they kind of
they were a lot. They did a version of they did a version of Substitute by The Who. That was their single at the time.
Nice.
And, at school the next day, everybody got in trouble for having a giant middle finger on their T-shirt.
Of course they did.
You go home and change that shirt, young man.
So when Duff's book came out, I did 2 interviews with him. One of them was in person for the magazine I was writing for, and that was at Mall of America. And we were just bullshitting before we did the interview. And I asked him, I was like, why did you guys never officially release Live at the Ritz? And he goes, dude, we were just a bunch of dumb kids. And, I don't even know where it is.
But dude, even in Slass's book, he talks about that show, and he's like, fans hold it in really high regard, but Axl was having vocal problems that night. And it's like, oh my God, dude, that's like fucking Axl. That is what I think of Axl Rose, is that fucking Ritz show, man.
Yep. And that Thin Lizzy shirt.
Yeah, fuck yeah.
They were super dangerous. And like I said, we all talk about, in my age group, when we talk about Nevermind coming out and just adjusting and changing everything, Appetite is just as jarring compared to what was going on. If you go back and look at like Metal Edge magazine that month, probably that it came out, you'll see guys who don't look anything like Guns N' Roses.
They were all playing pointy guitars, and Slash comes out with these Les Pauls, and
and they were fucking street guys, like really like living in
fucking storage units, like
exactly.
eight people. Yeah.
You guys don't know this, but I was on the Strip during those years, and I was younger than them.
Yeah.
And we were terrified of them.
Really?
Serious. Like we were terrified of them. Like, we'd walk on the other side of Sunset,
Yeah, I bet. Yeah, because they were scary dudes. That's why what's so interesting about things like, Double Talk and Jive and all that stuff is it's not like some made up story. Like, no, Izzy Stradlin was a straight up, like real street drug dealing kind of guy.
Yeah.
Like those guys were real deal.
Duff talks about that in his book. He's like, when he finally gets that first apartment where he's like ninja fighting cockroaches the first night. And he's like, Izzy always lived by himself and had a decent place because he sold drugs and could afford to do so. So Izzy was all about that life, man. So those songs were fucking real, man.
It's not a pose. It's not a pose.
No, not at all. But I remember like on that that Trunk interview when Axl showed up and Sebastian was talking, and I was like, dude, because when Axl was there, he goes, dude, I saw fucking Rolling Stone magazine, and there's this guy, and the fucking hair is just cheesed up to the moon, and on his pants he had written in whiteout said "Glam sucks," and it was you. And I'm like, dude, what the fuck's with this guy?
That's fucking great.
The first picture I ever saw of Guns N' Roses, there was a review in a magazine, and weirdly enough, it was just this sort of side, like, from stage left, just across the stage. And I only remember seeing Duff. Like, it was just this picture of Duff playing bass with his blonde hair. And he looked like, they looked like they were like more Hanoi Rocks than
right.
than at that time. And I just remember the review saying something like, "This is the best album since Zeppelin 2." That was Use Your Illusions at the time, I'm sorry, it was Appetite for Destruction at the time. And I remember being like, "Okay, well, this guy has certainly, intrigued me," and I bought that record. And literally, and when I talk about like Nevermind or any of those kind of records, Appetite really was a jarring experience. I think it changed a lot of what was going on at that time. And like, as I'm sure Jimmie knows that too, playing in bands, it was kind of like, it was one thing this day, and as the Guns N' Roses comes out, it's like, oh, okay, torn up jeans and leather pants and like,
it really was like, we were like, having these ripped up jeans with like spandex underneath them, and that whole deal. And then like, we didn't want to mess with those guys because they were terrifying. Them and LA Guns. I remember my friend Clint was like, "Let's go into the whiskey and check out LA Guns," and I'm like, "We can't even get in." Like, and look at the way we look. We're gonna get beat.
That's fucking great.
We couldn't get in, number one, because it was like those bands were the scene, like and then
it was like, it probably would be like going to a punk rock show where it's a totally different kind of audience and you're going to get your ass beat if you're in the wrong place. Yeah.
Pretty much.
I don't mean to cut everybody off, but this next track is what I think is really interesting.
What
Back on the rails.
I think Perfect Crime versus Get in the Ring is a long discussion.
Dude, fucking Perfect Crime. Talk about like some
two very angry songs.
Let me just put my statement in real quick, and then you guys can talk it up. Get in the Ring is just a classic GNR tune.
It is.
It is, and that's like that you get to hear Axl as a person in that song.
Totally.
That's a real diss track.
There you go.
It's not like the SoundCloud rappers today, like
that's
Machine Gun Kelly, Eminem diss track. No,
you're right. It was like and naming people in the song at the time was like, whoa, this guy is out of control.
Yeah, it's like, we've waited 4 years to put out a record and we've got all this money sunk into it, but hey, half this song we are specifically calling out these people.
Hit Parader magazine and Bob Guccione Jr.
Yeah.
And, whoa.
Well, the thing is, Bob Guccione Jr., he said on my Guns N' Roses podcast that he actually welcomed a fight with Axl because he's like some new jiu-jitsu black belt, and Axl never returned his call. So that was,
this is such a great line, such a great fucking.
I know.
Gimmick. Here we go. And that goes for all you punks in the press that want to start shit by printing less instead of the things we said.
Lies.
That means you lies. Sorry, I'm drunk. That means you, Andy Setcher at Hit Parader, Circus Magazine, Mick Wall at Kerrang, Bob Guccione Jr. at Spin. What you pissed off because
your dad gets
more pussy than you. Fuck you. Suck my fucking dick.
That's on a record.
And Bob thought it was funny,
I'm sure.
He's like, I'll fight him. Okay.
Fuck. That's fucking great.
That said, though, I'm going to pick Perfect Crime.
Dude, I'm going Perfect Crime as well.
I think Perfect Crime, as much as Get in the Ring has, to me, it has like almost cartoonish level of like that kind of thing. Perfect Crime is so serious and so heavy. I'm like,
that's in my top 3 Axl deliveries.
Especially like that verse where it's like, you want to fuck with me? Well, don't fuck with me. But he just says that like 100 times, and you're like, okay. And I chose not to fuck with him.
The ending chorus where I said it's perfect, dude. The fucking production. Yeah, dude, that's fucking over the top, man. Just kill it.
I just think it's really legitimately heavy. Like when I hear it, I start going like, okay, we're gonna drive really fast if this is on the radio.
Oh, dude, it's 100 miles an hour from that first second. It's fucking great.
Totally.
Jimmie, what are you taking out of the two?
Get in the ring.
I'm with Get in the Ring.
Okay, yeah. Oh, yeah. Fuck. Well,
Brando.
We went on for like 5 minutes and forgot. Yeah.
Gotta be Get in the Ring.
No, there you go. Izzy?
Izzy's breaking the tying vote.
I mean, I'm wearing a hockey sweater with a fight strap on it. So I'm going to Get in the Ring. And look, I'm going to say this. I did not know I was going to do this until about 4:30. because I thought I'd either be working or doing a podcast tonight. And so I didn't even listen to this shit. I was worried about my pork and getting rid of my hangover. So I'm just going on.
Baby.
I'm going on muscle memory, which is usually my left hand because that works better. But I can switch hands and gain a stroke. I'm going with Get in the Ring.
There you go.
Okay, there you go. Me and Todd are in the minority for that. So
3 against 2.
It's 3 against 2 because Brando picked.
Brando
Perfect
picked
Crime
Get
as
in the
well.
Ring too.
that's
Yeah,
what
I
I
mean,
said.
Perfect Crime is-
me and
it-
Todd are in the minority. Me and him were the
Oh,
only
I'm
ones that
sorry.
picked.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
I mean, Perfect Crime is angry, and I love it. I mean, again, these are all splitting hairs here, but
I really and
Get in the Ring is so memorable for a variety.
I think you
of
have to
reasons.
kind of give. I mean, you have to give it a Get in the Ring as far as like a classic Guns N' Roses song. I would say that wins, but my personal choice, Perfect Crime, is badass. The next ones are tough. You ain't
the first and Shotgun Blues.
I'm gonna say Shotgun Blues personally because there's some great moments in that.
I'm going You Ain't the First. I love how towards the end of the Use Your Illusion tours, like the clips from Argentina where they pull out the couches and kind of do that whole acoustic show in the middle of the fucking concert. So it's like you were getting 2 concerts. And You Ain't the First is cool, and they do it when Izzy wasn't there, and Axl would sing it, and I just love that tune. It's one of those, it's just one of those feel. As much as the lyrics shit on somebody, it's a feel good tune, you know.
No, it really is. It's a fun bluesy tune. I dig it. Shotgun Blues. I kind of lean more towards the hookier. This the producer in me. I lean towards more of the hookier song type. So, it has a very catchy melody. I'm with You Weren't the First. That's where I'm at.
Fine.
Brando.
Fine.
Hold on, let me do this because I have to go check my pork again.
Sounds like a euphemism, by the way.
Yeah, right. Well, I don't have any astroglides, so you're good. So because I remember the name Shotgun Blues. I don't remember the song because I didn't have a chance to listen to it.
Starts with the chorus.
Shotgun Blues.
So
Shotgun
I am going
Blues.
to. I've got this Bon Appetit. This was from the Monsters of Rock Cruiser Jam when we did all Bon Scott. I'm going to flip it. The Bon Appetit side being Shotgun Blues and the other side being the other song.
And the other song. You don't even know the name of the other song.
It's
That
the other
settles it
song.
right there.
You ain't the first. You ain't the first.
There you go.
It ended up on my signature. So
There you go.
Nice.
right back.
Without flipping, Shotgun Blues grabs me. When I was younger, I admit, You Ain't the First was maybe a skip song for me when I was younger. Not now, but Shotgun Blues since the beginning.
I would say the same thing about Shotgun Blues, that if I had to skip a track, it might be that one.
It was a little too similar to Right Next Door to Hell, that kind of style.
True.
Like
Yeah,
it didn't deviate too much.
It was a little lighter than that. I guess maybe it's the more punk rock thing in me, but there's so many. I mean, that's the one thing I will say about these records is that they are so diverse that there really is a lot going on, and it makes it difficult when this kind of stuff comes up. We're like, geez, I don't know. It's like it's because these deeper cuts, like these 2 songs, it's like, man, I don't know. That's really weird. That's what's weird about the next thing is Bad Obsession, which kind of wins actually. Bad Obsession versus
Breakdown.
Bad Obsession. I mean, Bad Obsession. You know why Bad Obsession? You know why Bad Obsession wins? Because you've got Michael Monroe on harmonica and saxophone from Hanoi Rocks, one of my all-time heroes, and I've been very lucky enough in my life to play with him many times.
Nice.
And I mean, that's the thing about. Here's an interesting point for you on the album. 2 Steps from the Move, basically the last of the original lineup of Hanoi Rocks. There's a song called "Underwater World," and the line, the lyrics go, "Welcome to the ocean, welcome to the sea, welcome to the jungle, deep inside of me." That's the lyric, and that's several years before "Welcome to the Jungle" became a song.
Wow.
So I think that's something to think about.
That's probably where it came from.
I'll think about it.
Well, I mean, like,
I will. I really will, actually.
Yeah. That's an amazing album, by the way. You should all go buy all those old Hanoi albums. But yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, for
They
sure.
were GNR was heavily influenced.
Very. I mean,
Yeah.
when you look at old pictures of Andy McCoy, the guitar player, you go, wow, Andy and Izzy were very, very much so.
Yeah.
Fuck, look at Axl's hair in the jungle video.
Exactly. Yeah. Yeah.
Exactly.
Michael Monroe.
So, yeah, I'm gonna go with like Bad Obsession too. I mean, it just like, to be quite honest with you, I remember going through the new record like because I was excited to get them back in the day, and going through them, and that one hit me like Appetite. Like I was like, that is the vibe of the Appetite record. And it reminded me of it.
They
very
kind of
much.
went a lot more. They kind of found their Rolling Stones meets something kind
Yeah.
of classicism about in this phase. And I love when they would do it live, and Teddy would just kill that harmonica live. By the way, Teddy Zigzag is an amazingly talented individual, and so when they took him out on the road, it was a pretty huge moment. And then Slash would play the what do they call that?
The Travis Bean.
Travis Bean guitar, yeah. And Slash on the Travis Bean guitar, yeah, that was pretty rad.
Yeah,
Yeah.
dude, Bad Obsession is one of my favorite GNR tunes, man.
It's
It's a
pretty
good
bad.
one.
It
It's a
must
really,
be
really
fun to
good
play. It must be fun to play. I've never played it.
Yeah, that's one I haven't done. We don't do that in the tribute.
Brando, thoughts?
I think it's Bad Obsession as well. And I don't feel good about saying that because Breakdown is it's a great driving song.
It really is. It's a great song.
It's when you're gonna listen to
a
both
very
albums.
well-written
Yeah.
song.
It is.
Yeah.
It's a beautiful song.
It's
And,
a quintessential. Like I mean, it's interesting if you compare like one, which we're doing, 1 verse 1.
Yeah.
A breakdown is needed to
It
have
is.
Use Your Illusion 1 and 2. It's part of that whole experience, the trip that it takes you on.
Totally.
I can't take away from it, but by itself, if I was going to see one in concert, yeah, I think I'm with the majority over here.
Mind you, it would be very interesting if they bust out Breakdown.
I think
Sure.
Breakdown is one of 3 tunes that they have never played live one time even. And I remember from Slash's book when they talk about recording this, he said that Matt Sorum had a very difficult time coming up with the drum part to this. Said that
The Breakdown?
said he was
Oh.
actually getting pretty frustrated in the studio when he was trying to cut it. So
Interesting.
that says a lot about that song. It's a very well written song, but fucking Bad Obsession, that's just one of those dirty GNR tunes, man. And you get to hear Axl in his low register. He doesn't go high until that scream at the very fucking end.
Yeah.
And it's not even a lyric, it's just him screaming. And it's cool getting to hear Axl do that like he does on Brownstone.
He's got a really great
the baritone voice.
baritone, yeah.
That's fucking killer.
I remember like when we were kids, my younger brother going like, is this the same singer on like Use Your Illusions? Because it's like, I'll see your sister in this, he's doing all that stuff, and then he'll like wailing, and they'll go, is this the same guy singing all this stuff? And I go, yeah, dude, it's the same guy. It's crazy.
That's fucking awesome.
My
Yeah,
little brother was an idiot. Just
definitely
kidding.
on that.
Okay, I'm gonna have to go with the experts before I do that, I have to play this for Todd because I love you. And I have to go with the
Amazing.
experts because, like I said, it was so late when I figured out I was going to be able to do this. I did not have a chance to listen to them, so I'm going to have to go with Bad Obsession.
Yeah,
Back
Bad
up.
Obsession for me.
Yeah.
usually.
Bad Obsession for me too.
So Back Off Bitch versus Pretty Tied Up.
Pretty tied
Am I
up for
correct
me.
on that? Pretty Tied Up for me too.
it's
Actually,
not-
Pretty Tied Up.
Yeah, that's
Pretty Tied Up is another Izzy Stradlin song, am I right?
Yes.
I played that once with Dizzy came out and jammed with us in
Okay.
Vegas here, and I was like, whatever you want to play, Diz, because Dizzy, when he does like Hookers and Blow, he just sings whatever he wants. And
Sure.
it was so much fun playing things like Pretty Tied Up because it was like, it's just you don't usually get a chance to play stuff like that, and I forgot how much I loved that song. It has all that weird like Cool Ranch dressing and all those weird things going on in there.
Cool.
So
and
just to clarify,
stressing.
it's double talk.
That's what it was. Yeah.
It's double talk and jive versus Pretty Tied Up, correct?
Oh,
Yes.
Okay. Oh,
was I wrong on that?
What happened to Back Off?
If my records are correct,
No,
then-
I'm going
Not
off.
Back
by-
Off.
Fuck, there's another misprint on this. My fucking Use Your Illusion 1
Hey.
doesn't have Back Off Bitch listed on this.
Hey son, this is America. You better get
Fuck.
some American guns.
America.
Dude, find me some American prints of these records that aren't like the new reissues because I'm not
Is it-
crazy about like just buying the new like 180 gram.
Oh, I know what you
Yeah,
mean.
I hate that shit. Like
Exactly.
colored shit. It always.
It's cool if it's shit that never got released, but I don't need a just brand new version.
So I got this. I got a copy of Street Survivors soundtrack for that Skinner movie that came out, the Artemis Pyle story.
Oh yeah.
About the plane crash, and I highly recommend the movie.
That's
it's
an amazing film. Yeah,
I
it's
haven't watched
fucking.
it yet.
Oh my god, dude! It's about the crash.
Yeah,
and it's
crazy.
Does it touch on Aerosmith possibly buying that plane at all? Okay, cool.
That's all in there. But so I got Artemis is going to be on the Adam Carolla show next week.
Oh wow.
And so I got that hooked up because of my connect. Eddie sent me the info and I forwarded it on, yada yada yada, because Mike Dawson is one of my good friends. And so they like sent him this box of shit and he gave me the fucking vinyl and it's colored vinyl. I put it on, I was all excited, and it just you can't listen to it because it just skips.
That's
like the 180 gram shit, it's like the old shit. It just plays perfect, but like that, it's like fuck.
So back off, bitch. Verse pretty tied up. This is a fucking tough one for me.
Is Back Off Bitch, really quickly? Maybe Brando knows this more than me. Is Back Off Bitch an old song as well, or am I just? Oh, it is.
I'm probably going to get criticized for saying this, but it sounds like the tune that they made up on the spot.
There's tons of demos from like '86 of them doing Back Off Bitch.
And one of the credits
they used to play it all the time.
One of the credits belongs to Paul Tobias, who was kind of, he might have been one of the reasons why
controversial figure in the GNR world.
That's right. He's one of the guys that was supposed to be playing
guitar. It was fucking Sympathy for the Devil. He was the one that was fucking shadowing Slash's solo.
Oh wow. That's controversial.
The legend. We don't know, but I mean, he's credited. So he I guess he had some input into this album, and
that's the one interesting thing about Guns N' Roses, that you'll get like West Arkeem, or like different guys are floating in and out of the transom of this group that you're like,
sure.
Wow, they were very open to almost anything when it came to like, who's got a riff, who's got an idea.
West Arkeem brought some great shit to the GNR table. It's So Easy and fucking The Garden.
He really did, yeah. Actually, that's going to be interesting getting into that stuff. So what does everybody's take?
Yeah.
I've got to go Pretty Tied Up. I mean, fuck, my GNR tribute is named Pretty Tied Up. That's one of those, dude, that song is a fucking blast to play, man.
It is, yeah.
The leads on that are just so fucking fun, man. That's not just because the band is named that. That's in our set list. That's one of my highlights of the night is when we get to that song.
I think Izzy wins pretty much every time. Pretty tied up.
Yeah, Pretty Tied Up. And this is a non-political thing, but it's a hilarious political post. This election is longer than a Fish song. I can almost smell the patchouli. Thank you, Paul Hanna. Thank you, Paul.
That's amazing.
Anyways,
right.
sorry.
I
had to share that.
So I think did anybody choose Back Off Bitch, or were we all going Pretty Tied Up on this?
I think it's Pretty Tied Up. Am I right?
Yeah.
Except that
great on the Tokyo tapes. Yeah, I said pretty tied up, but they were great on the Tokyo.
It's not tied at all, though. It's not tied up. It's anyway. Now it's Double Talk and Jive versus Locomotive. That's tough, actually.
Oh,
I love singing Double Talk and Jive live.
Double Talk and Jive is like one of my.
Fuck.
Yeah.
Great.
Yeah, that's such a great song, and again, it's another Izzy's voice. It's that story. They're always so even. Pretty Tied Up has this sort of real Hollywood, like I know this chick lives down on Melrose, that whole thing. So everything feels real legit whenever I hear his songs, and in this song with the found a head and an arm in a garbage can, you're like right away like, whoa, what is this? What are we talking about? Which apparently is a true story.
Yeah, apparently he walked out of the studio one day or somewhere and fucking actually opened up the fucking the dumpster and saw that shit.
Wow.
Yeah.
And again, it has that, the chorus being double talking job, get the money, motherfucker, cause I got, the whole like he's like a drug dealer, give me my money or whatever's going on there. And you're like, and I'm like, I believe everything about this song.
Dude, and Axl's fucking ad libs after the chorus are fucking great.
I know, yeah.
Right.
Fucking awesome. And the one thing I always found interesting about this is when they played it live Axl sang it even when Izzy was there. So
Yeah.
that was always interesting to me. But what song is this up against?
Locomotive, which actually is one of my favorite. That's a tough one.
Great.
Yeah. Locomotive is like one of those epic, great.
God damn it, man!
Tunes.
That's one of my favorite fucking Duff runs. Is that intro, man? That is just fucking.
It's like breakdown. It's a part of the experience of Use Your Illusion 1.
Man, and I'm really up.
In there.
The thing that upsets me about Locomotive is the last time I saw GNR was at Louder Than Life, and it was like a couple nights later they did the Exit 111 festival and fucking played.
They played it.
They played Locomotive, and I was like, God damn it! I just saw them a couple nights ago and they didn't play it. And was so bummed out that they added that into the set. And man, look, that's a fucking tough one, man. I was talking to Todd about Double Talk and Jive before this when we were texting. So this is one that the rest
because it has the epic outro solo.
Well, fucking,
time, yeah.
it's just F and E the whole time. So the rest of my band in the GNR tribute fucking hates playing this one because it's just 10 minutes of me fucking jerking off, and so it's and like I was telling Todd, it's like sometimes the drummer will cue the ending, the bah, where they hang on the chords while I'm still fucking ripping it, and I'm like, fuck, I gotta end it. So it's man, I've never played Locomotive live, but that's a great fucking riff, and it's
really great.
Slash has reworked that riff a couple times. It's kind of like the Anastasia riff, a little like Standing in the Sun, but they all have different discrepancies to them where it's not that's the riff from that. It's because it's a cool little run, and I think that's a fucking testament to Slash, is how he can take kind of that same formula of that riff and turn it into just 3 different
100 songs. Yeah.
Man, I want to hear your guys' take on these two. What you guys pick before I make my choice, because I'm
gonna say I don't want it to be controversial or anything, but I am gonna go Double Talk and Jive, only because, and this is my explanation of it, is like, yeah, because Double Talk and Jive to me is another one of those classic songs that if they played it, that they could play it right now. And you know what I mean? And Locomotive is, like you say, is more of a deeper cut. And it really is one of my favorite songs on this thing. It's so heavy and it's so great. But I'm kind of Hail Marying it over to Double Talk and Jive. Again, it's Izzy Stradlin. I have a soft spot for everything he does.
Yeah. It's fine. That man, and I Double Talking Jive is where I'm leaning, but it's just being such a GNR fan and having such a deep love for all the songs, even the deep cuts. Locomotive is really fucking high on my list for GNR songs.
All right, so what are you picking, Brandon?
I'm picking Double Talking Jive, man. That fucking the solo in that does it for me, and I love the live versions of that because that fucking. The scale for that song is so fucking weird. It's because from where it switches from F to E, it's like you have to be paying attention during that, because 1 second what you're playing is in key and the next you're fucking way out of key. So you got to be very mindful about what you're doing. That's one that I remember we played a New Year's Eve gig where, dude, they had these, we usually put this like little metal podium right in the very front. And dude, they had these fucking bright ass LED lights shooting straight up at the podium. So in my face, I've just got this, I couldn't see my guitar neck to save my fucking life. I was avoiding that podium all fucking night. And it gets to Double Talk and Jive, and I'm looking down there like, for just like begging anything to see the fucking neck for that, because it's so tricky to stay in that precise box for that song because it changes. So that, man, I've got to go Double Talk and Jive for that.
Okay, so we got Brandon's got Double Talk and Jive. 2, Todd. Brando.
Double Talk and Jive. Like I said, it's so fun to sing live. Home fuck. You know, it's just, you need it. Oh,
you know what I'm saying?
The anger I love.
Yeah. Izzy, where you at?
After sampling these on YouTube while you guys were talking, and part of me was going Locomotive, but then I went back to Double Talk and Jive again, and I heard that Spanish acoustic guitar outro.
Yeah, fucking.
And I go, dude, it's Double Talk and Jive.
Yeah.
Wow. There you go.
All right, odd man out. I'm Locomotive.
Whoa!
Yes.
Whoa! Wow!
What the fuck is wrong with this guy? I'm just that's like I say, man. Locomotive is still fucking really high up on my list.
But it is funny. You know what's really interesting is that Double Talk and Jive as a song, like the verse and chorus is like, it would be like a 2-minute song or something like that. And then the rest of it's just all outro solo for.
Yeah.
Well, they extend the intro too.
It's a 2-minute punk rock song.
100%. Yeah.
The way we always
Slash
do
goes
it is
into the Godfather theme, right?
That's exactly it. Yeah.
Yeah. We always do the Tokyo version where it just comes in with fucking Duff just hanging on that E for like a minute and a half. And
what are you gonna do? What are you gonna do about November Rain versus So Fine? That's kind of
So Fine, Duff.
It's amazing. Here's the thing: when Duff is such a Johnny Thunders moment, even though I think it's dedicated to Johnny Thunders. It's so fantastic, but you kind of have to give it to November Rain again because that is a fucking.
It's one of the best written songs.
It's
ever.
a tent pole of the entire. Isn't November Rain also like an older song?
Yeah, there's demos of that from the Appetite days. It was going.
I get confused.
They had planned on it being on Appetite, but they only wanted one ballad, and that turned out to be Sweet Child. But there's a couple different versions of this from that era where they have acoustic versions. There's versions of Axl playing it, and
the solo in that song is bananas too. I mean,
which
November
one?
Rain is November Rain. I mean, like
they released the piano version on the box set.
Oh wow!
Like 9 minutes, very demo style, and it's just Axl on the piano for 9-10 minutes.
I gotta get that box.
Great pianist too.
Hey, let me ask this question. You guys can answer this for me. Was Sweet Child, was that written a while ago, or was that just like written last minute?
You mean like is Sweet Child like more like of the moment than something they were playing for a while?
No, like when they were recording Appetite, was that a last minute song that was thrown in there, or did they already have it?
That had been around for a minute. Yeah,
they already had it.
Yeah, because they talk about whenever it got brought up, that was when they first wrote it. It was very early in the process because Slash was playing the riff as kind of like a fucking circus thing, and he thought it was kind of a joke. And Axl went upstairs like 30 minutes after hearing it and wrote all those fucking lyrics. And so fucking.
Okay.
That's always nice when that happens. Just like magically write this classic song. That's
right? Could you imagine if Paul Stanley would have produced that record?
He'd have ruined it.
Would it have sounded like Accent Sex?
Maybe.
Where's Jeremy at? We got to get Jeremy on.
I know. And I love it. No, actually, let me take that back. Would it have sounded like You Make Me Rock Hard or just the whole Crazy Nights record?
Man, and I obviously you can see all this Kiss shit behind me. I think we're all pretty big Kiss fans.
Oh, yeah, absolutely,
So, I mean, as much as I fucking love Paul Stanley, if he'd got his hands on GNR, he'd have fucking ruined the band. Because
it's also I've had this conversation a number of times, and I think Jimmie, as a producing guy, can have this conversation as well. I would imagine Paul Stanley hearing "Welcome to the Jungle" for the first time, or anybody who's sort of like writing hit songs, like radio songs, would have been like, "There's too much going on. This is a really long song."
That's exactly what happened. Stephen Adler talks about it in his book, where he hears "Welcome to the Jungle" and he's like, we got to rework that chorus. It needs more of a Kiss chorus, like anthem.
Especially at that time, because you got to keep in mind, before Appetite, everything was like big, chorusy kind of stuff. Welcome to the Jungle was like really like you're listening to a band from the streets of Hollywood because it was a band from the streets of Hollywood.
Well, the fucking TV wouldn't even play the video for a year almost.
Dude.
Yeah, right.
They only played it on Headbangers Ball.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. I saw that video and I was like, "Who the fuck are these guys?"
Right.
So, what are you gonna do? What are you guys gonna do about this? Now we get into.
You gotta give it to November Rain. I fucking love So Fine, and that's one we actually do in the tribute.
Do you?
Yeah,
that's cool. That's cool that you do.
I don't do I don't use the slide for the solo. I do it the way that Slash actually did it on that tour, where without the slide, he's bending it, and that's. Man, with Slash and Ace being my two favorite guitarists, I just love those big, dirty fucking bends, man.
Totally.
That's when I think I wish he would have recorded it on the album without the slide, because I think it just accentuates it so much more. Even with there being so little notes in it, just those bends fucking add so much to that. And I love the drop off in the solo where the tempo kind of, slows back down, and then fucking it goes right back into the fucking chorus at the end of that, which is all upbeat. But as much as, it's a great song, but nothing's winning over November Rain.
I love Duff. I love Duff like a brother, and I think that we can all agree that So Fine is a great moment in the journey of these records. But when it's up against November Rain, that's like, it's a tough one. November Rain is like an epic.
So are we November Rain across the board?
Izzy?
I think.
Therefore I am.
My God, King! My God! November Rain is an epic song, but it's too produced, King, and it's too overdone, and the rawness of So Fine, King, that's where Izzy's, my God, King, he sings so fine! My God! Yes, I'm going So Fine.
Wow, okay, great.
Brando, where are you at?
I got to follow JR over there. November Rain. That's the GOAT. That's.
Stop that! My God, King! My God!
I mean, I know you're trying to do JR. It has a little bit of.
It's a terrible
Leghorn in there.
Yeah, a little bit.
Foghorn Leghorn. Yeah, exactly.
Foghorn Leghorn.
But November Rain. I mean, I'm not gonna take my shirt off, but I have. That's my first tattoo. Is the boy. I guess I could show you my shirt. Is on a shoulder blade. So November Rain, it just showed me of what rock could be. Given my.
I know what you mean.
Okay.
I mean, honestly, it's
one of the best music videos ever. It's a fucking movie, basically.
Even Donald Trump apparently said that.
There you go. When you walk into the Rainbow, to this day, when you walk into the Rainbow, I always look at that back booth, and we always call it the November Rain booth, because there's that shot in the video where they're all sitting with their chicks around the back booth, and you're like, that's it, dude. Now, what are you going to say about the Garden versus? This will be very interesting.
Oh gosh, I can't. Oh man.
But it's the Garden versus Estrange versus
Estrange. No, man, the fuck.
Alice Cooper versus.
I'll call it right now. I'm going to say, what's that?
Let me say this. It's like deciding what child lives.
Sophie's choice of Guns N' Roses here. I'm going to start bold. I'm going to say the Garden. The Garden has always been like one of my favorites on those records. And I think that every time I hear it, I just get so tickled, because I know how massive of Alice Cooper fan, especially Slash, but I know how they were all massive Alice Cooper fans. And to have him, cemented in history on that song for them must have just been like, they must have just been elated, and probably still are, that he's on that. So I always love that song, and not to take away from Estranged, because obviously Estranged is, but I suppose now from this perspective, Estranged is so, I've heard it a gazillion times. I've seen the video a gazillion times. So now when I hear the Garden, I'm always like, this is a pretty badass song.
I'm with you with the Garden. I'm with you on the Garden.
There you go.
Man, the Garden
controversial
is one of my favorite GNR tunes. That's some of my favorite Matt Sorum drumming off of these Illusion records.
Can you look at Brandon? He looks like he's gonna cry.
I am. No, that's what I keep leaning down off screen for, is to wipe the tears off. I mean, kicking into the Alice Cooper part, just those fucking heavy snare hits going into it is just fucking killer. But man, I've got to go Estranged, and that's for those fucking leads in that song, man. That's some of Slash's best fucking playing, and Slash's playing was so fucking good on that song that even in like 2009, when Axl fucking hated Slash in the press, even in that Rolling Stone interview where the "Not in This Lifetime" fucking quote came from, he was like, Slash probably should have just left after Appetite. But if I can say one nice thing, I can thank him for those leads in Estranged. And it's like, it just Slash getting a compliment from Axl during that time is fucking amazing.
Yeah,
and so I think that's quite a testament to how fucking good those leads in that song are. That's a fucking killer tune, man. And God damn it, I love the Garden, and I love the music video for that too. That was on, I used to have the Welcome to the Videos DVD, And that was always a real cool video to me. I'm a sucker for black and white, and most of the videos are black and white.
So which
Brando,
child has to die?
I've got to go Estranged, just for the leads. But it's by a hair, man.
Estranged. I think that's just the peak journey of what we're talking about. Like, you can't mention Use Your Illusion Records without Estranged being a part of that. November Rain, yeah, I know I'm going back a little bit, but you could, as far as just the epicness of it, that was the video. You can look at it by itself. But Estranged is like the journey. If there's going to be one song to represent, what the experience is like listening to that album and peak Guns N' Roses of that time, the perhaps too over the top, the Dolphins.
I know, yeah.
In the video.
So over the top, yeah.
I think you can't go against it. It's
okay.
Guitar thing.
Izzy, where you at?
Brother, as I sit here and I stroke my Hulk Hogan stash for Movember, I have never been a fan of Estranged.
Oh.
So what I'm gonna say to you right now, brother, as I hold.
Oh, now it's real.
Oh, it's on now.
Let me tell you something, Mean Gene. As I sit here and I hold the golden eagle, the winged eagle, brother, and this is the worst Hulk Hogan impersonation of all time, because it sounds absolutely nothing like him. I have to go after, especially just listening to the first time in probably 25 years, The Garden.
Wow.
I've never been a fan of Estranged.
That's a 3-2 on such a classic song like Estranged. And I'm only going by, and the next song choices is going to be tough for me too, because when I go by Estranged and a lot of these songs, we've heard them so many times, it gets hard, because the next one being, I'm sorry, I think it's
Garden of Eden.
Garden of Eden versus You Could Be Mine. And I'm going to say personally, because I love You Could Be Mine. Who couldn't? Here's a funny story. When I was down in LA in 91 doing the trying to get signed thing, we would end up at the Rainbow every night, and because that's what you did. And one of those nights, Slash was like, "Hey, who are you guys?" You're like, we're sitting at the November Rain booth in the back, me and my band, and Slash is in the corner booth where there's a picture of him now on the wall. So he gets up with some girls, and he comes over like, "Hey, who are you guys?" And he just sits with us. And we're like, this guy is the guitar player for the biggest band on the planet. And we're just some jackasses from Canada. And he sits there and he goes, "Okay, so Todd, John," he goes around the table, learns our names. We only had like half an hour, 20 minutes of him just sitting there. And then eventually kind of like, "Okay, dude." And then we went about our lives. But it was like, and then circle back several years later. And then I end up playing with the guy. But on one of the nights,
did you tell him that story?
Oh yeah. And he goes, "Oh, was I nice?" Because he was really, he was elegantly wasted, kind of like, he had that kind of like, it was sort of like somewhere between Dean Martin and, he was kind of like, "Hey."
That's my favorite state.
Yeah.
That's how I love to be.
Oh yeah, where everything's clink, 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 clink. We're walking around. But one of those nights, we were there and we were leaving the Rainbow and walk outside, and we're just like, well, what the fuck? And there was all these lights, and the Terminator was standing there. Like, Arnold Schwarzenegger in full Terminator gear was standing in the alley between
just fucking murder.
Was the music playing?
But it was like him standing there with some sort of like tech person with a clipboard, and they were like, "Okay," and I'm just like, "What the fuck?" Because he's holding the gun like, like this, and it's like, "What the fuck is going on here?" And then they usher us across the street right away. Like, you got to go over there. And we're like, what's going? So we go across the street over by that. I think it's like a Wells Fargo over there, something over there. I can't remember. And we watched like, what is going on? And then this white car pulls up. What do you call it? Like, convertible pulls up, and it's Axl and some girl. They get out and they walk out of that door of the Roxy a few times and film that thing. And we're like, what the fuck is going on here? And then like, months and months later, that video comes out. We're like, oh, that's in the music. And it was, we didn't know that song was going to be in the Terminator 2 movie. In fact, I don't think we even knew there was going to be a Terminator 2. It was just kind of like, Terminator film was was a thing, and we knew what that was. And I was just so like, I remember standing there in this minor crowd of people standing across the street watching this, and this guy going, Arnold, doing this terrible Arnold impression. But anyway, so my connection to that song, you think I would pick You Could Be Mine, but I'm going to pick Garden of Eden. And here's the funny thing is, it's one of the songs that once in a while Slash will go, because he doesn't really pick a lot of songs to play from the Use Your Illusions. He goes, we should do Garden of Eden sometime. And I remember Miles looking at me and going, you can sing that one.
I would love for you guys to try.
I go, fucking A, I'm going to sing that song. And then I immediately go back to my room or whatever, or call it up, and I'm like, oh shit. Because it's one of those ones I was talking about. It's one of the ones I was talking about where Axl was just like, he must have just been like, oh yeah, dude, like just like, he's just rambling, like, when you watch the video with that bouncing ball.
Dude, that's fucking classic, man. I love the bouncing ball.
Especially when Beavis and Butthead are watching it, trying to sing.
Oh, dude, yeah, I forgot about that. That is fucking killer.
Yeah.
Yeah, because he's all jacked up and he's like.
just a side note from the side banter over here. She said Uncle Todd can't say shit. He's got busted.
Sorry, I didn't know she was going to be here.
Stick her Venmo up on the screen and Todd can donate to it.
Yeah,
there was only so long I could keep her out of the studio. You know that.
I do.
Todd, a very, very important question about that night. Did at any point Arnold point the gun at you and go, "Who is your daddy, and what does he do?" Gonna ask you some questions.
That's great.
Sorry.
No, he did not. He did not do that.
So did you guys ever actually get to the point of fucking rehearsing Garden of Eden?
No, it never came up. It's funny because I was thinking about this as I was listening to the record. I remember because Perfect Crime was another one that I was pitching really hard too. Dude, Perfect Crime would be killer. Perfect Crime would be great. And they never did. I don't think they ever did Perfect Crime on the Not in This Lifetime. We're always trying to find something. If we're going to do something, let's try and do something a little different than what they're doing.
Yeah.
And I was like, dude, Perfect Crime would be pretty dope. And I'm like, I'll sing the shit out that song because I know that stuff easy. But so Miles is funny that way because he'll be like, because he literally looked at me like they were talking about like Garden of Eden, and he looked at me and he goes, "You could sing that song." There's like too many goddamn lyrics, and I was like. I thought he was just, throwing me the ball, like being a bro. And I realized, oh, he's just giving me all the heavy lifting there. No.
That's great. Going to the comment section, somebody did comment about Todd singing.
He's terrible.
Frank Delgado said Todd's voice on Dr. Alibi is amazing. So
thank you.
That's
thank you
I know how much of a Motorhead fan all of the guys in the band are. So that's
yeah.
That's got to be a really big honor to sing that song every night, and that be your song in the set. So
yeah, it's one of those. I mean, I don't mean to suck up all the time, but when I get to do that song on a nightly basis, it is really honestly, it really is honestly an honor. And a funny story I was telling the other day was singing. I also sing the Iggy Pop song. And one time we were at the House of Blues in LA. Don't look for it; it's not there anymore. We did a show. And Lemmy got up and sang Alibi. So actually, and then Slash goes, well, just you sing. He's always very apologetic about it. Like, sorry, dude, but a fucking living legend is going to get up and sing the song.
Is this when? Where was it that Michael Monroe got up and did "We're All Gonna Die"?
That was in like Finland or wherever when we were over there.
Well, that makes sense.
Yeah, but I was singing the Iggy Pop song, and it's "We're All Gonna Die, so let's get high." There's a line in that song where he says, "Pee on the ground
and jump around."
And I remember, I did the song, and then after the show, I'm standing backstage, and Lemmy goes, "That was great, mate." He's always really complimentary. He's he was like a motivational speaker, kind of rock and roll
nice.
Guy. And he goes like, "Does that song say pee on the ground?" And I go, "Yeah." He goes, "You got to change that, mate." And he walks away. I go, I can't change the lyrics to an Iggy Pop song.
I remember when that solo album came out and hearing that for the first time, it was like the lyrics were a little weird to me for that. Like I said, because I was like 14 when it came out.
We're all gonna die. You may as well just pee on the ground. And I understood what he was talking about.
I mean,
Words to live by.
that's a great embodiment of Iggy Pop, though, that song. So
It is.
And I love the story Slash told about the first time he got to hear Iggy's vocals on that. He said Iggy called him and put him on speakerphone and sang the whole goddamn song to him.
I bet he did. Yeah, I mean, that's he's the one.
Awesome.
He's the one off that experience that I've not had the chance to meet. I never met Chris Cornell either, mind you, or even Kid Rock. But with Fergie and Miles and Andrew Stockdale and a lot of those guys we've been able to cross paths with that were on that record, but not.
I say Fergie came and performed with you guys in, I think, New York, pretty early on in that whole.
She did a bunch of times, yeah. I haven't seen her in years, but she would get up and do like Barracuda by heart and nail it, and then do like one-handed cartwheels and shit. What the hell's going on here? She's great. She's really.
You ever
talented.
work with Eric Valentine, who produced that record?
Yeah, we did Apocalyptic Love with Eric.
That's right, Todd.
Oh, nice.
So
Yeah,
there you go.
Eric is amazingly talented. I just saw him, oddly enough. I ran into him at a Trader Joe's one day. He's like a whole new man. He's got a kid. He's in love, and I think he's leaving LA. I think he's going east, if I'm not mistaken. I think
Do you blame him?
yeah.
Jesus Christ.
Well, I think he's kind of like, I mean, he's done really well for himself. So I think he's kind of like, this chapter of his life is more about family and stuff like that. He's an amazingly talented. And I think like he has like a rocket surgeon, like scientist kind of mentality. He's like a whole other kind of guy.
Like a surgeon.
Wow, Weird Al, circling back on the Weird Al.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Who else wants to pick? I don't even know what songs we're talking about.
Garden of Eden. You Could Be Mine in Garden of Eden.
I'm going Garden of Eden.
Man, I got to go You Could Be Mine. I know I keep throwing in the GNR tribute in here, but dude, just the second that you start that fucking drum intro.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. Well, I mean, you can see the fucking 8 foot tall, those are 8x4 foot Use Your Illusion banners that we use on stage. So we really embrace that part of it. But dude, just
I will
the
say
second that drum part starts, the crowd just goes fucking crazy, man.
It's another one of those examples of like, I remember as a kid, I was really young, but when Iron Maiden replaced Clive Burr, the drummer from, like the early days, and like, Number of the Beast was monstrous. Like we were like, whoa, like what? And I was young enough to kind of
church.
Exactly. And I was young enough to be like, oh, that dude's not playing drums anymore. Bummer, dude. And then Peace of Mind comes out, you put the record on, and it goes, and you're like, whoa, you're like,
Nico fucking McBrain.
So it was a similar experience with okay, Matt's the new drummer for Guns N' Roses. Okay, well, let's see what he's got. That whole thing. You're like, oh shit. Okay, wow, he showed up.
He just did an interview recently talking about that and said that he was playing it a little different than that on the first couple of takes. And he said that because he asked if he got asked about a song that because he was talking about, he'd always be like, we should go back and try that one again. I think we could get a better take. And Slash, it was like third or fourth take of You Could Be Mine, and Slash looked at him and was like, "Were you trying to suck all the rock and roll out of it?" And but he said it was like the third or fourth take he played that like at that time, and that was the fucking take on it. So that drum intro, that to me is like, hey, Matt Sorum, welcome to the fucking band. That's it.
It's a perfect drum take. Absolutely. I think he's I think Matt's really a great, solid rock and roll drummer,
Oh, dude, he's fucking, he's like a human fucking metronome. He really is. His timing is something that never fucking fluctuates.
The weird thing is, what I always tell him, and I know it's kind of a strange thing to hang my hat on, but I always say some of my favorite drumming by Matt is on the Neurotic Outsiders album. That's a fucking really solid rock and roll, punk rock kind of album, but his drumming on it is really like some of my favorite kind of drumming, where the parts are like really signature parts of the songs. It's not just a bunch of like noodling around. He's like actually, Matt's a singer and a songwriter and a guitar player, so he knows the songs. He's not just kind of like going, I do this for 4 and then I do this for 4. Are we making fun of drummers now?
No.
We can make fun of drummers at any time.
Izzy, you out with the songs.
Yeah, what do you think, Izzy?
Well, first of all, I want to reply to Tommy Summers from.
No, I wasn't even gonna fucking reply to that. That's
no, I'm gonna read because
that's such a shitbag comment to just come
I
on.
know he's one of my buddies, so I'm gonna reply to it. And Tommy, I'm just gonna say fuck you.
Yeah, that's how I feel.
And I love you to death. And holy shit, that black cat turned back into Brando.
Wow,
dude,
magic.
I can't sit down because he's in my spot. I don't want to move him.
As much as I can say that I got this fucking WWF championship belt out of a box of gimmicks, I can also say that You Could Be Mine is the only choice right here.
There you go.
Okay.
I love Garden of Eden, but
You
it's
still going to the bathroom right there?
I guess so. The litter box. I can't. I have to reach over. I'm not one of those people that doesn't want to. Because I know Todd always does Instagram about his cats also. So I feel
yeah, I know. Yeah. I know. It's
Oh, trust me, I bust them with cat memes now all day.
cat people. We're cat people now. God love us.
Well,
Cat
what about?
people.
Do you do the same thing with Slash and Megan, like cat memes back and forth?
Pretty much. Well, it's funny because when I started talking nonstop about my cat, he goes, yeah, it's the same thing here, dude. Because they've got like a whole tribe of cats over there. It's amazing.
with the snakes still running around. No,
No.
I'm just, yeah,
and the funny thing is, there's no snakes around anymore. It's the weird. There was one for a while. I don't know whatever happened to him, but yeah, he's I don't know what happened.
That's wild.
Brando, where were you?
Brando, what song are you thinking? You Could Be Mine versus Garden of Eden.
It's very hard. This is my Sophie's choice.
There you go.
You Could Be Mine is fantastic. Yeah, for all the Terminator reasons as well. Garden of Eden. I mean, that's just like there's no other song like it. It's so quick. It's so fast. It's in your face.
It's punk rock, yeah.
But I can't go against Arnold. I can't.
Well done.
Arnold.
Yeah.
Could be mine.
Arnold.
Anybody that doesn't pick it, he's just going to slowly creep in their shot from behind.
And
Exactly.
anybody that doesn't pick it, you're wrong.
I'll take it. I'll take it.
Real quick, while we're on
hold on. Not to steal a line from my buddy Ahmed Zappa. Ahmed Zappa is, if you don't agree with me, you're wrong.
Oh, God bless him.
Real quick, while we're on the subject of Matt Sorum, I know Todd, you have the rest of you guys read any of Sorum's autobiography that didn't get released?
No. I mean, I've known him for like 20 plus years, but I didn't read it.
You mean Matt's book? Is that what you're talking about?
Yeah.
Oh, I haven't read it yet. I really want to, yeah.
I think I probably shouldn't say this on air, but I think I sent it to you a while back when we first started chatting. So dig around in your email. You've got it in there somewhere.
Oh, really? Okay, good to know.
So I feel pretty safe saying this because I don't fucking think Matt Storm's going to be listening an hour and a half into this fucking podcast. But that's just that whole that book is just crazy, man. And I kind of understand. I have a good idea of why it didn't come out. So.
Right. Yeah.
But if any of y'all want to read it, send me a text after we get off air here, and I'll send it to
Izzy
you.
Presley Izzy at izzypresley.com.
Send all hate mail. Yeah. There you go. But yeah, okay, yeah. If any of y'all want to read that, hit me up after we get off air, and I'll send you all to it because there is some very fucking interesting.
What is it? Where are we at?
Don't Damn Me versus
My World.
No.
No. Don't Cry. Alternate lyrics.
Well, I think we have to. That's interesting.
I skip over that all the time. I learned the song once. I don't want to learn it again. One set of lyrics. Don't make it complicated. So
I said fuck it. I'm going Don't Cry.
It's a weird inclusion, isn't it? Like an alternate version of a song from the other album. This one is very interesting.
I would say this.
I even skipped it writing it out.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
I would say that the bridge coming out of the solo, I might actually prefer the version on the alternative one where he's like, and when you're in need of someone, my heart won't deny you. Fucking Axl kills that delivery. That
Great
is
line.
fucking
Oh,
awesome right there.
God.
All right,
I
I'm
think
on the don't cry.
I wish that bridge would have made it into the original one. Like if they would have a version with the first half of the song being the original verses, and then that kind of third verse, which is kind of like a bridge after the solo, I think that would have been the perfect version of that song. And I got into a discussion about this last night with Aaron Small from Brave Words on the comment section on one of these, talking about "Don't Damn Me," and "Don't Damn Me" is one of my favorite slashers. That's a fucking, and I love the way the solo kicks in on that, where he's basically copying the main riff and the punches into it. But honestly, I feel like the words kind of get a little jumbled in this one to where it's kind of hard for the ears to keep up. And that's the lyrics are great, but as far as just like from a listening standpoint, it seems like your ears are always kind of a step behind what's going on.
Interesting. What are your thoughts on "Don't Damn Me"? I always think "Don't Damn Me" is is that an older song as well? Like there's some that come up like they sound like they're more like classic sounding in a funny way. But
I'm not sure if that's an older one or not. I don't think it is.
A name, Dave Lank, is one of the writers, which
Dave Lank. Interesting.
who I don't know.
Yeah, I don't think I've ever heard that before.
And going back, I think Todd, you asked this before. Going back a few tracks, I think "Back Off Bitch" is an old song.
Yeah, there's demos of it and there's videos of them playing it at the whiskey and shit from like '86.
But not "Don't Damn Me." I like "Don't Damn Me." It's cool. Don't damn me. It follows the riff. Dang, 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 and he sings like.
Adler's actually done. Adler's done "Back Off Bitch" with his band. So.
Oh really?
Yeah. So I mean that song was definitely around pre-Appetite.
There you go.
So that's a great fucking tune. But yeah, on these I think I'm going "Don't Damn Me" because the "Don't Cry" alternate version not taking anything away from it, but when you've heard that original version, this one just hits the fucking ears weird, man.
Yeah, it is true. It's a little weird, isn't it? I'll go "Don't Damn Me."
Yeah,
I'm on that.
I think
EDM
that's what
for me.
There you go. DDM. Izzy?
I said "Don't Cry."
Okay.
Oh, yeah, that's right. You did say "Don't Cry." I'm sorry.
Don't cry. I mean, like that, dude. That line.
Don't you cry tonight.
Hey, I mean, yeah, my heart won't deny you. Oh.
That's
a great line. Yeah.
That's one of my favorite parts on both of these albums is that little section right there.
Izzy almost swayed me, but I'm gonna stay.
Yeah.
That song
I've been waiting for.
That song is so or that line is so just makes me think of someone that I have to do a shot of Jack now. Hey Izzy, are you an alcoholic?
Dude, aren't we at the end of the second album already?
We're at the end of the second album again.
So Bad Apples versus
My World.
Oh, Bad Apples, I guess.
Yeah.
I think My World is so much fun. I mean, the one thing I will say, you have to take into account that
Todd.
at this particular time, things like hip hop and all that kind of stuff were such a bizarre, interesting thing for all of these kind of guys. So that stuff like Faith No More or any of these kind of groups, Anthrax, all these groups that were fooling around with this kind of stuff. Axl, to his credit, was always kind of on top of what seemed to be going on. He'd show up with a Nirvana shirt or a Jane's Addiction shirt, and guys like Shannon Hoon being involved and that kind of stuff. He seemed to be very plugged into what was going on. And, My Way just sounds like a fun, like, late night studio kind of like, this insanity, you know what I mean?
It's one of those that, like, the second it comes on, I'm fucking stopping the CD.
But again, Bad Apples is a dope song. Yeah.
I fucking love Bad Apples, man. That intro, fucking killer, man. And Slash's tone is fucking awesome on that.
It is, yeah. It's
really
got an R&B funk thing going on that, huh?
I'm on Bad Apples.
My World, like the Van Halen Inside
it
on
totally,
Guns N' Roses.
Yeah, it kind of is, isn't it? Yeah, it's a very similar idea. Yeah,
it's a novelty song, which I think is okay for a band to do. It's their Obla D you know.
It
in a
is,
certain
yeah,
way.
it is, yeah, yeah.
Then I am going to go with that song.
Wow.
Oh, God.
Hot take, hot take.
My God, King! My God!
I say.
I'll say.
Yeah, I'm definitely going Bad Apples. I'd take Bad Apples over a lot of the songs. Bad Apples is, dude, I just fucking love that tune. It's killer. That's
So
one
how-
that there's only one. They played it live at the at the first shows of the tour when they were down there in Rock and Rio. It got played. There's no video footage, and the audio recording cuts out. Like there's only like fucking in a minute and a half, 2 minutes of it. I'm pretty sure. So there's no fucking footage or audio of them playing this song in its entirety live. And that's unfortunate because, dude, that fucking intro is just so fucking awesome to me, man.
It is. Yeah.
And the chorus is great on that, too. Axl's lyrics on both of these albums are just fucking great.
Oh, yeah, yeah. He's an underrated lyricist. You know who else is? I have a long conversation. This is a different podcast. Mick Jagger is an underrated lyricist. No one ever sits around saying, you know, Mick Jagger's a great lyricist. I've never actually heard anybody say that.
Yeah,
and I
come
always
on.
say, like,
She blew my nose and then blew my mind. Come on. That's
exactly.
I'm a monkey
that's-
man. Come on.
That's
Exactly.
some
I'm a
Shakespeare
monkey
type
man.
shit. Yeah.
Exactly. But Axl doesn't get a lot of credit either. I think there's a lot of, especially on this album. It's just like, I mean, I don't know how much when you're looking at, was that guy's name Steve Lank or something like that? Dave Lank.
Dave
I'm
Lank.
I'm not sure who, like some of these, you know, West Arkeem and stuff like that. I'm not sure who's writing what, but
All right, Brando, you got to track that guy down and get him on that Appetite for
I'm
Distortion,
surprised.
so.
There you go.
Maybe he's dead because I'm like, there's no way I wouldn't have at least tried to get him on the show.
Wow, just right to the darkness.
I know.
Yeah.
Well, I mean,
He could be
obviously,
fucking dead, man. Fuck.
I could.
Hey, right to the darkness. Maybe he believes in a thing called love.
Oh. Nicely done.
I mean, unfortunately,
Pulled out of the fire.
West Arkeem isn't here, but I was able to get some of his outpatients,
Oh, wow.
bandmates, and his nephew.
Right.
So I mean,
Right.
Dude,
if he's
I
dead,
had
I'll get some relatives.
I had that Outpatients record on my iTunes back in the day, and there's actually some really good shit on that record, man.
Ooh, I gotta
last-
talk. That's like our cat. He's a tuxedo cat.
It is. He stole your cat, man.
He's my cat. My cat
Look,
caught up.
hold on,
caught a
hold on.
plane to
Look,
Brooklyn.
look out. That cat is looking at your jugular.
I know.
It's like a Monty Python sketch out of nowhere.
Okay, so
God.
we got 2 songs
We
left
got 2
on
songs.
Use Your Illusion.
On one record.
Yeah.
On one record, yeah.
Let's put them
Should we-
against each other then.
Okay.
Coma.
So
Coma.
yeah, it's got to be fucking Coma, man. That, and I will say this, that is such an awesome thing that that's totally for the fans. It has to be that they have put that in the fucking set every goddamn night on the Not in This Lifetime tour.
That's true, yeah.
There has not been a show yet that they have not played that, which is so crazy to think
I
about.
think there was a
because
Slash request, right? What, didn't Slash really want to play that
It
live
could be,
again?
yeah.
Well,
For
they're,
some reason, Coma and Locomotive to me feel like sister songs in a way. Like they're both epic and heavy and I mean, Coma is another one that's like, it really is like these seems like on this record especially, no one's standing there with a stopwatch going like, hey, we're over 3 minutes, guys. This isn't going to get on the radio. It's kind of like, no, just like we're just going for as long as we want, doing whatever we want. Add another part here. Let's, you know, and I dig that. I dig that when a band gets kind of like adventurous and ambitious like this. This record is all about that. That kind of like, meh.
Well,
If they don't-
I mean, this was back on tape. It must have took up one reel.
For real, dude.
Yeah.
Well, as I Illusion
One reel, 4 reel.
One reel, for real.
really and
We
really,
should have had like a Abbott and Costello argument, right? You said one reel. I say for real. No, only one reel. For
who's
real.
on who's on first?
Yeah.
meeting
Who's on
adjourned.
first? You ain't the first. The Use Your Illusion 1 is
Here it
an
comes.
hour 16 and 9 seconds. And then Use Your Illusion 2 is an hour 15 and 55 seconds.
Wow, and it
You
has
telling
like,
me that's not on purpose?
and it has two less songs than the other.
They couldn't extend like.
Well, you got to
and,
think
like,
fucking Use Your Illusion 2 has like fucking Locomotive, which has that whole outro spot. You got a Strange, which is like 30 minutes long. And yeah, no, there's a lot of epic songs on the Use Your Illusion 2 that are longer.
But
So
They
do we
couldn't-
land on the final conversation about who who's a Use Your Illusions 1 and who's a Use Your Illusions 2? That's a tough, man. That's pretty tough. I used to be a Use Your Illusions 2 all the time because of Pretty Tied Up and Locomotive. But after looking at this now, like really sort of being so surgical about it, I'm kind of like leaning Use Your
I got
Illusions
6
1.
against 9.
Look at Jimmie's been working on a dissertation.
6 against 9.
I was wondering if anybody was.
Oh, for real?
Yeah.
Let me ask you guys this: if they were able to get this down to one record of 9
Oh.
songs.
Ouch.
Hold on,
I
just
like
wait,
that.
just wait. No, just hear me out. If they were able to get this down to one record, which I think they should have,
Oh no.
would it be as big and as iconic as Appetite?
I honestly have to say, like, to have the balls to say we're releasing 2 records on the same day at the same time, because nobody that I knew went and bought, like, I mean, because the fact that You Could Be Mine was the first single or whatever, you would think everybody would just go buy that record, but we all bought both. We went in, bought both records,
right? But that doesn't answer my question. What if you take the fucking best songs off of both of those records and you put them on one record? Is it as iconic as Appetite?
To be honest, I think, yeah, it would be. I think, in a funny way, it might have even had more impact because it would have,
I agree.
No
but
way.
I think the fact that they had done this crazy, no one else has ever done this, and no one else probably ever will again, release 2 albums at the same time. At least I don't know if that's ever been done.
Next minefield.
It's not cost effective now, you know.
Izzy, I'm with
Exactly.
you on that. Like, they should have released just one record.
Yeah.
Oh no. Yeah. Okay, I will bounce back to the previous episode where our good friend Jeremy Asbrock made the statement where he's like, I put all those people that say like the White Album should be cut down and all that stuff. He's like, he groups all those into the same people. And
but the White Album is one album. This is 2 albums of 14, 15 songs. And if you get that, dude, if you get that down to 10, 11 songs on one record, it could have been the biggest album of all time.
Do you think this is also an interesting conversation about the introduction of compact discs? Because I really have a feeling myself that I feel like albums started to get too long anyway, in a funny way. Like, you know, it became like you could fit this much more information on a compact disc versus
I agree.
you know, because Van Halen records were like 8 songs in the beginning.
Right. Well, this is the thing. Anything more than 36 minutes on an album, the sound quality started to decline. That's why records were so short. And
exactly.
But I think the beauty of that is the best shit got on the record, and then the other shit that wasn't on the record got reworked
for the next
following record and got better. And it should have been one album.
I think sometimes when we get these CDs, like some bands would release a CD of 15 songs or something, and I'd be like, I honestly don't know if the last 5 songs even get listened to. You know, it's kind of like there's a sort of like, you know, I'll get around to that. Especially when when you're listening to the singles.
Exactly, because look, and that's the thing I love about vinyl is when you put a record on, you have to listen to the whole thing.
That's
pretty much.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, you
It
don't
needed
have
to be
but
this.
for the most part.
It needed to be this bloated, and I don't want to use bloated in a negative sense here.
Why are you looking at me when you said bloated?
I don't know. Mike Madonna's put on a few pounds since he.
That's Mark Parrish. Thank you very much.
Oh, former Islander.
Yeah.
Nice. I'm an
Wow.
Islander.
Wow. Hockey references.
Oh,
Well, you're not wrong, Brando, and I agree.
But
there is a certain amount of like the epicness of these songs and the
and
epicness
it coincides with that tour. Why I believe Gilby should be in the Hall of Fame, because that's a Hall of Fame tour. The tour
Absolutely.
was big. The band became bigger. The album is supposed to be big.
Yeah.
And there aren't, I mean, if you want to call them fillers, you know, the novelty of My World or the fact that they did Don't Cry Twice.
Yeah, I know.
Yes, but I mean, if you're going to give us these 2 outputs, which thankfully they did because they broke up, it hasn't, Chinese Democracy, and now we're waiting on something else, maybe.
Yeah,
Hold on. Time out. Just think about it though. If they would have put out one record, of the best songs on those 2 records, and then followed that up with the remaining songs that you
Chinese-
guys obviously love.
What do you mean, all the leftovers? That's a pretty
Or the
constant.
Chinese democracy leftovers that are still sitting there, you know. These
Well, I mean, fuck
who,
Asper used to say he had like 3-4 albums just ready to go.
who knows?
He probably fucking does, but
Right.
Well, yeah. I
we'll
mean, that's-
we'll never hear any of
Your
that.
buddy
Right,
Sebastian
right.
Bach said he had 3 albums worth of material on Chinese democracy, and we got 1 album that doesn't even honestly sound finished, even though I like it. It's
It was
exactly.
the anniversary is coming up for in like 2 weeks. So
November
was that, right?
23rd. That's
right.
when Chinese came out, Spaghetti came out, and Life Era came out. That's
Oh,
how I have
really?
a
Wow.
because I have a
Wow.
GNR podcast. The only reason why I know that.
Yeah.
Holy shit.
I know.
I can't
Yeah,
wait to be
that's-
on it.
Right on.
We should have an episode that night discussing all of those things.
yeah,
Yeah.
hell yeah, I'll tune into that 100%. Okay, let's make our final decisions on this. Todd,
So Jimmie, let me ask you this, Jimmie. So you're saying 6 to 9.
I got
What's the 9 songs?
What's the
on which
electoral
album?
college vote of? Who won the popular vote of the song?
Well, this will take us 48 hours too.
Oh, geez.
one got 9 and
Still
2
shorter than a
Yeah.
fish song.
Wait,
1 got 9,
and 2 got 6.
2 got 6.
Really?
Interesting. I'm actually not surprised by that because as it was going by, I started leaning 1. It's so weird to me, but yeah, I'm gonna have to say 1.
I still look at the songs on each one and I'm gonna go to 2. That's
Oh,
the
that's
one
interesting.
I'm gonna
You know what?
I'm
It's
gonna
funny
go to.
because, Todd, you said that because, like, you know, I haven't listened to these 2 records in a really long time, and I was all like, you know what? Like when I first started, I was like, I think it's 2, which is the, and then once I started going through them again, I was just like, wow, it's 1.
Yeah,
That's
Double
how it
Talk and
is.
Jive. Is Double
Yeah.
Talk and Jive on 1? No.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's on 1. Dust
Yeah.
and Bones.
yeah,
it's
Yeah,
tough.
I definitely it's
he's gonna
it's
explode,
a
Brandon.
double-edged, yeah. It's a double-edged sword, man, for me. I think if I had to pick, I'm definitely leaning towards 1. Now, I think when you start, me as far as like thinking about it from a guitarist standpoint and a Slash fanboy fucking standpoint, like Slash's better guitar playing is on 2. I think some of his more iconic solos, like fucking Estranged and fucking dude, Pretty Tied Up, as much as people want a casual fan might consider that a deep cut, to like a GNR fan, that's fucking up there.
Oh yeah, yeah.
So I mean, I preferred probably the solos that Slash played on 2, but I think as a record overall, I'm going 1 because it's a more hard rock record, I think.
Y'all need
Wow.
to check on
So hold
Brandon.
on. This poses that question when it goes back to what Axl was talking about on Eddie Trunk. He said that Slash wanted to do his record, but he wasn't going to do Izzy's record unless Izzy does his record. Which record is Slash's record and which record is?
Well, I think those are
Izzy's
like
record?
they're definitely mixed together because I
Yeah.
I don't know. That feels such a weird conversation because you could definitely hear the Izzy songs.
Well, I would say that 2 is more of an Axl record.
Yeah, could be.
Yeah.
Brando, where are you on this?
I mean,
That's
look at his
just-
shirt.
that-
Look at his shirt, man.
I know. Well, I guess that's the quick answer, the cheat sheet. But I went through that phase that I believe Jimmie said earlier, where I would be Use Your Illusion 1, and then I'm like, wait, the 2 is such a great,
Yeah.
or Brandon, what you just said, some of like Slash's most iconic work is on that. But still, I can't go against my GOAT, November Rain. If it's on there,
There you go.
that's my favorite. I got to stick
There
with
you go.
that.
That's
Yeah.
your Tom Brady.
That's just Tom Brady.
That's my Mickey
You guys
Mantle.
you guys
Mickey
might want
Mantle.
to check on Brandon later on in about an hour. He'll be in the fetal position.
I'm gonna have to text Matt Starr and be like, dude, we got to move up the next session. Come on, buddy. This is I got to vent hardcore right now. So
Nice.
Well, that was fun,
Yeah.
gentlemen. I actually kind of I really enjoyed the. Actually, it's always fun to listen to these records, but I never really listened to them with this sort of detailed kind of I never thought
Right.
about this,
Right.
And I think that, when you get into things like the deeper stuff, like what was it we were talking about? Shotgun Blues versus Was it that one that we were talking about? Something in there was a little bit like, wow, what song was it? I was
Jive
thinking
talking.
of.
Let's just start from the beginning, and we'll know when we get to it.
Yeah, let's do the podcast again.
Let's not do that, but
I just think they're
Breakdown was
Right.
the one that I'm like, yeah, that's such a really cool song that I kind of didn't forget about, but I just sort of like, oh yeah, right.
I
yeah.
think Breakdown would have been better without the weird fucking baritone under vocals Axel added into the chorus. The fucking let me hear it now. That part.
Yeah, that's
I
that's
love
fucking
that.
weird
Yeah.
to me.
He definitely had fun with the overdubbing, like, cool
Dude, and
instruments.
Slash said in his book that there's like he's got a mix of these records without all the like extra shit in it, and he's like, that's the fucking versions that should have been released of this.
So it would have
Interesting.
been more raw. Like
Yeah, so it wouldn't have had shit like
that gives me a fucking boner right now.
Dude, it's crazy when you think about some of the shit that might be in this band's vault that we don't even know about. Like,
Well, think about how much breathing was on So Fine.
Exactly.
You're like, come on, stop breathing on the mic.
I
Yeah, I
did
know.
that all the time, though. You go to Patience at the end. He ends it on the.
Yeah.
I do that every time at the acoustic shows, and my buddy Dustin, that's in the GNR tribute with me, that plays at most of my acoustic gigs with me, he fucking dies laughing every time that I do it because I make a point to end it every time on the.
I would do that on the radio also.
There you go.
On the radio
Well,
coming out of a song.
How do we end this podcast?
102.3 WBAB.
Just a message for anybody out there that's impatient on waiting for the election results. Just remember waiting for fucking Chinese democracy. You know?
Similar thing. Yeah. It was so
Except
weird
longer.
because I remember one day just being like somebody just telling me, dude, you can be mine. It's at Best Buy. And I'm like, what? Like I remember just being kind of unplugged about it and like, no, it's at Best Buy right now. You can go buy it. I go, what? Get in my car and drive over to Best Buy and buy
You mean
it.
Chinese democracy?
Yeah, Chinese. I bought it on vinyl. Did I not say
like,
Chinese
you
democracy?
You said you could be mine.
I was like,
Oh, I'm sorry.
listen,
Chinese
on, Papa.
democracy. I'm just swimming in titles here. I'm just like, yeah, remember that? No, but it was Chinese democracy, and I was like, and I just remember getting a text or a phone call, and a friend said, yeah, I just picked up Chinese democracy. I go, what? It's out? And he goes, yeah, dude, it's at Best Buy. And I got up to my car and I bought multiple copies. And then somebody gave me like, I've got a bunch of them still still wrapped in vinyl. I was like,
that's what I had right here. That's the Chinese I bought at Best Buy, and I just took the wrapper off.
Oh, wow, yeah.
Nice.
I'm like, I'm not going to sell it, and if I'm
No.
going to leave it in my backdrop, I got tired of the glare. That's kind of the
Totally,
real reason. It didn't have any of the Best Buy stickers on it. I'm actually disappointed because I guess it's the first pressing that didn't have all the cool art.
The hype stuff on it.
Oh, I
So
better
I'm
take a
like-
harder look at my shit. I don't even know.
I'm like,
yeah.
this one's lame, actually.
I always
Why I
take a
got
hard look at my shit.
Well, it's a good way to stay healthy. It's
Yeah, exactly. No, I don't remember eating any corn.
I know how bad. I know how bad it is. I don't need to look in the toilet. I know how.
Oh, God bless whiskey shits.
Well, nice.
Good Lord. All right, gentlemen. I'm going to go.
I gotta go. I gotta check my
All
port.
right, cool.
Jimmy?
All right, so
Jimmy,
I think,
I'll call you. Me and Jimmy got to get together and finish up some minefield stuff. We have a project with this kid Brandon Fields here. We
Yes.
make music together.
That guy
so-
right there.
That guy
Who?
over there, exactly. Never
And,
heard of him.
fuck that guy. No.
And Mr. Kerns, I may be strolling up there Sunday and Monday to see Mr. Trunk. And
Oh, yes,
maybe,
Mr. Trunk's in town.
maybe we do a Trunk Kerns Izzy White Castle excursion.
Oh,
Oh,
my
wow.
goodness. Where?
I'm getting my plane ticket right now. I'll fucking see you all there.
Hey,
Exactly.
the only White Castle is on Fremont, right?
Fremont and inside Casino Royale.
Izzy comes to Las Vegas to go to White Castle.
Yes.
He doesn't gamble or see shows.
Oh
It's
no,
like,
I gamble. Look, when I stopped there on my way to Minnesota, because the bars were not open in the casinos at that time, so you had to go to a machine and wait for the waitress. My free Bud Light cost me $190.
What?
I
Wow.
was like, I'm gonna win. I'm gonna win.
The next
Hey, I'm
podcast is our woes of gambling. So
I'm gonna say this. I'm gonna end this my last thing I say on this podcast, Vegas was not built on winners.
No, that's true.
True.
No,
This
that's
is true.
why they keep coming back. Okay, well, fellas, before we wrap it up, I promise this is on a random note. Mr. Neil Davis, who is one of the people putting on Kissmas 2020 this year in Sarasota, Florida, I promised him that I would mention something about it on here because he's been gracious enough to be texting me back and forth about the event. It's going to be the first Kiss Expo I've ever been to. So if anybody listening is interested in a Kiss Expo this year, there's going to be one in Sarasota, Florida, December 18th and 19th.
I have a very important question. Having an Ace Frehley tribute band with members of Faster Pussycat, Ellie Guns, and Enough's Enough. Can we play?
You'd have
You
to,
certainly should.
You'd have to hit him up and ask him. I know
Yeah,
that
you're
they
the guy.
have,
You know him. You say, hey, yeah, I know this
I'm-
guy.
All right, hey, I'm calling him right now. So
I love it. All right, I
just-
gotta go.
Jeremy and Phil and all them were playing. Jimbo Vera is going to be there as well. So
Nice.
a bunch of cool
Nice.
stuff. Tickets are super cheap. General admission $20 for the weekend.
Nice.
So if anybody's
Izzy,
going to be in
Brando,
Florida,
nice
go
meeting you
down there.
guys.
Yeah.
Likewise.
We're going to cut the live stream right now. See you, everybody.